Chapter 46:16. I'm quite surprised that someone like you would get married so early. Min looked down at his sneakers and said unhurriedly. What's wrong with someone like me? Did I commit murder or arson? Suyu laughed. That's not it. I just think that children from super rich families like you are born with everything. You can't wait to eat all the delicacies in the world and flirt with all the girls in the world. You won't get married until you're 40. Very few people in their 20s are bound by marriage. Let's put it this way, isn't the son of a famous tycoon in China often on entertainment copyright and Sina Weibo? He's already in his 30s, but he still doesn't get married. Isn't it because he keeps changing online celebrities? Although it's exposed, he has no morals. Who doesn't get broken up when they're in a relationship? But if he gets married, it's different. If he dates an online celebrity behind his wife's back, it's cheating. He'll be scolded to death. Suyu nodded. That makes sense. So, you don't have to be in such a hurry to get married. After all, marriage is a curse for you guys. Min said this from the perspective of a friend for Suyu. There was nothing wrong with Suyu saying that he wanted to get married. After all, the person who could marry Suyu must be from a prestigious family. Ordinary families shouldn't be considered by the Su family. That makes sense, I've learned something. Suyu bowed with both hands. Min smiled and rolled his eyes at him, knowing that he did it on purpose. Although what you said makes sense, I still want to get married, Suyu continued. It's fine as long as you think it through. If you want to get married, then get married. Your family's money is like a gust of wind. It's easy to prepare for the wedding of the century. In 2 words, spend money. Min bent down and picked up a green leaf from the ground. Only Second High had this kind of leaf. Back then, the principal transplanted a few trees from a mountainous area. He didn't expect this kind of tree to be so awesome. It grew extremely lush on the school grounds of Second High. Min liked this kind of leaf very much. It was a little heart-shaped. Mian, what I'm worried about right now, that girl hasn't agreed to my proposal. Aw. It's not easy. Who would be so stupid to reject Suyu's proposal? Min asked absent-mindedly while playing with the leaves. That's right. I also think she's retarded. How many people in the Su family want to marry into the family? Let's not talk about money and power. Just Suyu's looks are off the charts. Suyu stroked his chin with a narcissistic look on his face. Min turned to look at him and nodded. Yeah, your looks aren't just off the charts. I think they're off the charts. Why do I find your words strange? The more Suyu thought about it, the more he felt that something was amiss. I didn't think too much. I was just praising you. No, you're obviously slandering me. The 2 of them fought all the way, and in the end, they were both exhausted. Suyu, let's go back. It's too late. Min looked at his watch. It was almost 9:30. Okay, I'll drive you. Suyu walked out of the campus with Min and returned to the parking lot. Then, the 2 of them got into the black Audi and left. Min leaned against the passenger seat. Perhaps she was really exhausted. Suyu didn't know if she was asleep with her eyes closed the whole way. Suyu played Bandri's Lioli Lakeside. Min felt even more comfortable. Then, she tilted her head and fell asleep. When they arrived, Suyu didn't ask her to get out of the car. He waited for her in the driver's seat. Suyu took out his jacket from the trunk and covered Min with it. Then, he continued to listen to music in the car, looking at her red cheeks as she slept. Suyu wanted to kiss her. This was the person he had loved for so long. Chapter 46:17. Suyut slowly moved closer. The closer he got to Huamin's face, the faster his heart beat. He had never done something like this before. He was really scared, like a little boy seeing his favorite toy for the first time. Suddenly, just as he was about to kiss Huamin opened her eyes. "What are you doing?" Startled, Suyuk quickly retreated back to his seat. Then, he adjusted his collar and looked embarrassed. "Wow, Suyu, you took advantage of me." "I didn't." "Then what were you doing?" "I just wanted to kiss you." "Bullshit, kiss me. Do you think we're in kindergarten?" Huamin glared at him angrily. "What? I just wanted to kiss you. If you don't like it, you can kiss me back." Shameless. Huamin was so angry that she almost rolled her eyes. "For you, I can be shameless. What are you going to do about it?" Suyu said shamelessly. "You can hit me or scold me if you want." Huamin looked angry on the surface, but she really couldn't bring herself to be angry. She only said bitterly, "Suyu, you're about to get married, don't mess with me. If you want to be friends, then be friends with me. If you have other thoughts, then forgive me for not being able to keep in touch with you. I don't want to be the mistress of a rich family or the third party. I've already learned a lot from my mother. Don't try to coax me like I'm a 3-year-old child and talk about love. Love between a man and a woman is very simple. If you love me, then you should marry me, not sleep with me." Perhaps because she saw through her mother's pain, her mother originally appeared before Jiang Hong. It was Hu Zhenghai who changed sides at the last minute and married Jiang Hong for the sake of the Jiang family's power. In the end, Huamin's mother was labeled as a mistress for the rest of her life. Huamin admitted that Suyu was a good person, but he didn't want to follow in his mother's footsteps. In short, to her, it was wrong to be a mistress, no matter what reason one had. Suyu wanted to laugh, but he was afraid of angering Huamin. Huamin seemed to have thought too much and misunderstood Suyu. She didn't know that the person Suyu wanted to marry was definitely her. "Don't worry, if I succeed in marrying the girl I love, I will never look for you again," Suyu said with a straight face. Huamin suddenly felt hurt. Although there was nothing wrong with what Suyu said, it just sounded a little heartless, but she still felt so uncomfortable. "Alright, I'm going back. Drive safe." Huamin opened the car door and was about to get out. Suyu quickly chased after her and asked, "Hey, you won't be angry tonight and block or delete me? You won't be that petty, right?" Huamin didn't say anything, and continued to walk forward. "If you delete me or block me, then you're too heartless, you ingrate." Huamin stopped and turned around angrily. "I am an ingrate." Before she could finish, Suyu rushed up to Huamin at lightning speed and gently kissed her on the lips. Then, he ran away. The entire process took less than 5 seconds. By the time Huamin reacted, the car had already started. "Suyu, you bastard, you pervert." Huamin yelled angrily. "Thank you for the title, I like it. Good night, my Dr. Hua." Huamin didn't understand Suyu's last sentence. Why did he call her Dr. Hua? Ha! Why did he think this title sounded good? Was he crazy? When she thought about how Suyu stole a kiss from her, she felt like she was dreaming. She reached out her finger and touched her lips, feeling a little dazed. Chapter 46:18. After Suyu kissed Huamin, he didn't contact her for a few days. Huamin was a girl who cared a lot about her face, so she didn't send Suyu a WeChat message. However, sometimes she couldn't help but look at Suyu's WeChat moments. Unfortunately, Suyu didn't post anything these days. Could it be that something had happened? Huamin was a little worried and started to let her imagination run wild. She even looked for news about Suyu on the entertainment pages, but there was no news. Then, what did Suyu do these 3 days? He was at home and didn't even go to the company. He was only at the Su family's old mansion. Then, he was a good boy for 3 days, serving his mother, his grandfather, and his father who just came back. He didn't contact Hwamin these few days because he was preparing a big move. Su family's old mansion, morning. Tell me, what do you want? Master Lord Su had seen many people in his life and was the best at reading people's minds. His grandson had been serving him tea and water these few days, so he must have a purpose. After Lord Su said this, Mr. and Mrs. Su couldn't help but laugh. The little brat must have a request. Otherwise, he wouldn't be so obedient since he was young. Hee hee. As expected, the older the ginger, the spicier it is. Grandpa, I do have a request, and my parents. After saying this, Suyu deliberately looked at his parents' expressions. Mrs. Su had always spoiled her son and wasn't worried that she wouldn't agree. However, Mr. Su had a bad temper and spent less time at home than Lord Su, so this was a rare opportunity. Suyu decided to give it a try. Of course, he wasn't confident in his heart. This wasn't like the other world. In that world, his parents and grandfather spent a lot of time with Hwamin, so they liked Hwamin very much. However, in this world, no one knew Hwamin, so it was still very abrupt to suddenly talk about marriage. Tell me, what's the matter? Suyu's father lowered his head as he ate. He didn't even look at Suyu. Dad, I don't dare to say, don't dilly-dally like a man. Suyu's father really had a bad temper. Suyu didn't say anything, but the old man was already unhappy. You hasn't said anything yet. What are you doing with the kid? Mrs. Su felt sorry for her son and scolded her husband. Suyu gritted his teeth. He knew that it wasn't a good idea to continue dilly-dallying like this. It might even backfire. Therefore, she put down her chopsticks, closed her eyes, and said loudly, Master, Father, Mother, I want to get married. After saying this, Master Lord Su reacted calmly. This was because Suyu had warned him beforehand. However, this was the first time Mr. and Mrs. Su had heard that their son was getting married. They were still very shocked. What? You're getting married. How old are you? Mr. Su frowned. 28 years old, Suyu said confidently. 27 years old, Mr. Su corrected. Yes, weren't you the same age when you and my mother gave birth to me? Suyu was indignant. That era was different. What era is it now? Who would get married so early? Have you done well in your career? Suyu's father didn't seem to agree with his son's marriage. He didn't even ask who he was getting married to. He just felt that Suyu was getting married a little too early. After all, in a rich family, many rich second-generation heirs only thought about getting married after they were 35 years old. Some even had children in their 40s. This was already a common phenomenon. Lord Su didn't say anything and just drank his nourishing soup. Seeing his father's attitude, Suyu was a little anxious and retorted, Dad, don't you want a grandson? What do you mean? She's pregnant. Mr. Su's eyelids twitched. Chapter 46:19. Suyu was a little embarrassed. He also felt that what he said was too dangerous. Did you get her pregnant? Mrs. Su was also very anxious. Although the Su family was rich, it was a traditional family. She really didn't want her son to bully a girl. If he really got her pregnant, it would be really troublesome. After all, this kind of thing was more embarrassing in a family. Lord Su was drinking soup. When he heard this, he pricked up his ears and listened carefully. He didn't care about anything else. He only cared about when he could have a great-grandson. What are you guys thinking? I mean, if I get married. I can have children, right? Strange, don't you not like children? Lady Sue remembered that her son was like this when he was young. He didn't have much patience for babies. It was still the same when he grew up. Relatives and friends would bring their children to visit. Suyu basically treated them coldly. He didn't provoke the brats, but he definitely wouldn't get close to them either. Mrs. Sue used to be worried that Suyu would become a dink in the future, so she tried to persuade him. Suyu didn't like children, and he still didn't like children. However, he liked his own children. After all, children were the best of his family. When the twins were born, Suyu was as busy as if he was their biological father. Suyu gave 100% of his love for the twins. When Suyu left, the twins were almost 4 years old. Suyu had never gotten angry with them. He didn't know if it was because he wanted to marry Huamin too much or because he missed the twins too much. Suyu felt that he didn't want to delay it any longer. Otherwise, with Huamin's slow personality, who knew how long it would take for him to get married? Yeah, I don't like children now, but I like my own children. After Suyu finished speaking, Lord Su and Mrs. Su both laughed. I often watch the news, but I've never seen you in a relationship. Don't tell me you're going to marry a female artist from your company. Mr. Su kept a straight face. Of course not. Besides, Dad, entertainment news is just entertainment. Not many of them are true. Don't believe what they say, Grandpa. Say something for me. I've mentioned this to you before. Suyu saw that he couldn't withstand his father's interrogation, so he decided to look for reinforcements. The old man slowly put down the soup bowl. He smiled and said, "You've made a good move. You've warmed up to me in advance. I was wondering why you suddenly respected Grandpa so much. It turns out that you're waiting for me to save the day for you. Grandpa, you love me the most. I want to get married, I want to get married. I don't care." Suyu simply acted coquettishly and shamelessly in front of his grandfather. Master Lord Su was a sucker for this. Ever since he was young, he would satisfy Suyu as long as it wasn't against morality or the law. Dad, why don't you listen to what the child says about that girl? As soon as the old man spoke, Mr. Su was indeed obedient. If that's the case, then tell me, what's her situation? Mrs. Su was very happy. As she stirred the milk tea, she looked at her son with a loving smile. Grandpa, Dad, Mom. I'll be honest with you. She's not some socialite's daughter. She's not some highly educated doctor. She doesn't have a prominent background, and she doesn't even have a decent job. She's just an ordinary girl. She doesn't have a face that can topple countries, she doesn't have the ability to act coquettishly, and she doesn't have a scheming mind. But I like her. She's my cup of tea. The first time I saw her, I felt like she was my entire world. She's brave, strong, kind, and righteous. Chapter 46:20. Suyu said so much in one breath. Although there weren't many words of praise, they were all used to describe Huamin's ordinariness. But at the end, there was a huge reversal. The general meaning was that she might not be outstanding in their eyes, but she was the girl he loved. Such a long speech shocked everyone. Lady Sue was even a little touched. She felt that someone who could make her son go to such lengths couldn't be too bad. Has the girl agreed? Master Lord Su still remembered that day when Suyu said that the girl hadn't agreed. That girl. I think she's interested in me too. It's just that because of our family background, she doesn't trust me. She always thinks that I'm the kind of person who plays with feelings. So, in order to express my sincerity, I want to marry her directly. Do you know her well? Mr. Su asked seriously. I do. I've actually known her for a long time and have been observing her. It's just that I've only started to officially interact with her recently. Since you make it sound so amazing, why don't you bring her back another day and let us see her? Lady Sue couldn't wait to say. Sure. But the three of you have to help me do something first. Sue Yu's foxtail finally showed. What is it? Lady Sue was stunned. Sue Yu looked at his grandpa and then at his parents. He said embarrassedly, I hope the three of you can go to that girl's house together and propose marriage. If she agrees, I'll bring her back openly. Propose marriage? Mr. Sue was stunned. At my age, I've never done such a thing. Master Lord Sue laughed. All three of us have to go. Your grandfather too. Lady Sue was a little uncertain. Yes, Grandpa has to go too. Only then can we show our sincerity. Also, you can't go empty-handed. You have to bring the betrothal gifts. Mr. Sue, Mrs. Sue, Master Lord Sue, but don't worry, I'll pay for the betrothal gifts myself. You just have to help me formally propose marriage as an elder. Will you be rejected? What if you are rejected? That would be so awkward. Grandpa Lin laughed. Grandpa, don't jinx it, okay? Sue Yu looked helpless. Master Lord Sue's mischievousness meant that the old master was in a good mood, so his words were equivalent to an indirect agreement. Mr. and Mrs. Sue naturally didn't dare to refute. Dad, this is too weird. We haven't even seen what the girl looks like, and we're just going to propose marriage. I'm glad you like it. It's settled then. After making the decision, the old man walked towards the study. Before she left, she didn't forget to ask Sue Yu, when are we going? There's no time to lose. Let's do it this afternoon. She's on the day shift. She gets off work at around 5:00. If she gets home, she'll have to take the bus at 6:30. So, let's go to her house around 7:00. How many cars should we drive? Lord Sue asked Sue Yu seriously like a child. I think since it's a marriage proposal, we should make it grand. How about 10 cars? It'll be perfect, Lady Sue suggested. No, please don't. Mom, their family keeps a low profile. We don't want to scare them. I plan to drive my Audi A6. That's right. It's good to keep a low profile. Don't put pressure on your future in-laws. The old man nodded and went upstairs. Mr. Sue was still not used to it. Sue Yu. Are you serious? If we go and the marriage proposal succeeds, if you go back on your word, I'll break your legs. Before Mr. Sue could finish, Sue Yu immediately leaned forward. Holding his father's chubby chin, he smiled and said, Dad, I'm begging you this time. I promise I won't regret it in this life. I won't regret it in my next life, or the life after that. Chapter 46-21. Huamin got off work at the same time as usual. While he was on the bus, he kept checking his phone. There was still no contact from Sue Yu. He was a little disappointed. It seemed that these rich kids were indeed unreliable. It had only been a short while, and he was already tired of the old after kissing her. Besides, she knew her own limits. With such a plain face, she shouldn't even think about seducing a wealthy man. Huamin laughed at himself and leaned against the window of the bus, feeling a little melancholy. When he got home, Jixin was already back. He was busy in the kitchen with his mother. Sis, you're back. Yeah. Mom made cornmeal noodles today. It's stewed with shredded potatoes and celery. Is it appetizing? Jixin smiled mysteriously. Yeah, I haven't eaten it in a long time. I'll change into my home clothes first and come help you guys later. Min walked back to his room listlessly. What's wrong with my sister? She doesn't seem to be in a good mood. Jishin asked his mother in a low voice. Your family must be tired recently. Day and night shifts. I'm confused. Young Meirong looked at her daughter's expression and guessed that it was because of work pressure. The family was busy. Just as they were about to eat, they suddenly heard someone knocking on the door. Because it was summer, the family had a wooden square table under a big tree in the yard. However, it was quite old, and the stools were still old-fashioned benches. Hearing the knock, Jishin quickly got up to open the door. When he opened the door, he was a little dumbfounded because he didn't know any of these people. Excuse me, is Mion home? Suyu asked first. Yes, she is. Come in. Jishin opened the door and let the guests in. Min turned his head. When he saw Suyu, his heart almost stopped. The problem was that Suyu didn't come alone. There were 3 older people behind him. He knew Lady Su because he had seen her a few times at Southside Recuperation Center. So, Suyu brought his family here. At the thought of this, Min felt extremely nervous, and even a little helpless. Yang Meirong stood up and looked at these strangers. She didn't know what to say. Suyu introduced himself in a flattering manner. Hello, Auntie Yang, my name is Suyu. I'm Mion's. Suyu glanced at Min and continued, I'm Mion's boyfriend. I brought my family here today, to discuss our marriage. Ah. Yang Meirong felt like her brain was about to short-circuit. She couldn't react in time. Ahem, ahem, ahem. Jishin coughed violently, wondering what was going on. She remembered that her sister had just broken up with Ning Ziyuan not too long ago. How could she secretly have another boyfriend? And looking at the way this family was dressed, they seemed to be quite rich. Wait, what did this little brother just say? His name is Suyu. That's Suyu. Could he be the big boss of Imperial Star Group? Jishin suddenly felt that his brain capacity wasn't enough. Sis, what's going on? Jishin asked Min in a low voice. How would I know? Min was also confused. Since you're here, if you don't mind, let's have dinner together. But there's nothing good at home, and I didn't prepare anything in a hurry. Yang Meirong was a good person, but she felt that tonight's simple meal wasn't very good for guests. Mom, I'll go out to the restaurant and get some takeout, Jishin said. Okay. Yang Meirong took out 200 yuan from her pocket and handed it to Jishin. Auntie, it's okay. We like corn noodles. Can we sit down and eat together? Suyu looked at the food on the table. Chapter 46-22. Of course. Just like that, the 4 members of the Su family suddenly joined in. The 7 of them sat around the table and ate the cornmeal noodles. The old man was very happy and ate 2 big bowls. When I was in the army was stationed in the northeast. This was the most common food in the cafeteria. I haven't had this flavor in many years. Did you make it yourself? Yang Meirong quickly nodded. Yes, uncle, we made it ourselves. You're Mion, right? Lady Su looked at the girl sitting next to Suyu and looked at her carefully. Min quickly stood up when Lady Su called out his name. Hello, Auntie Su. Sit down, sit down. This child. You don't have to be so polite. Don't be nervous. Lady Su vaguely remembered seeing this child at the hospital. Then, she remembered Suyu's subtle reactions after he was discharged from the hospital during the car accident. Lady Su understood the cause and effect. Although this nurse didn't look very exquisite, there was definitely a reason why her son liked her. In-law. To be honest, we're here today, to propose marriage. Old Master Su had always been swift and decisive in his actions. He didn't waste time on nonsense. Therefore, after taking a sip of water, he went straight to the point. Young Mayorong was shocked. Suyu's father was also an honest person. He took out an exquisite silver suitcase from behind him. Then, he opened it, and there was a pile of red yuan inside. In-law, here's 3 million yuan. We in the north have a tradition of giving gifts. I don't know how much other families give, but because we were in a hurry, we didn't take a lot. Just treat this as the deposit for the child's wedding. We'll make up for it immediately if you need it later. Pfft. Jishin almost choked on his noodles. 3 million yuan. Deposit. This wasn't a dream, was it? Huamin was also stunned. It wasn't because of the amount of the gift, but because he wondered why Su Yu's family was here to propose marriage. Calling her mother-in-law. What was going on? Huamin secretly stepped on Su Yu's foot, then whispered angrily in his ear, Su Yu, what's going on? That's what you saw, Su Yu said happily. You dare to trick me. Huamin was furious. It's precisely because I'm serious that I brought my entire family here to propose marriage. If I was playing with you, would I need to use my old man? Do you think anyone can meet my grandfather? Su Yu wasn't boasting. Old Master Su's military rank was so high that even the high officials would tremble when they saw him. The Su family had been able to stand strong all these years because there were too many people in the family who had joined the military and held important positions in the government. What's more, the Su family had never been involved in scheming wars. The old man had dedicated his entire life to the country, so he was full of righteousness and spoke with confidence. When Huamin heard that it was really Su Yu's grandfather, he almost went crazy. She didn't know how high Su Yu's grandfather's military rank was. However, she had long heard rumors that Su Yu's grandfather often held meetings in the capital. He was an old leader who was with the big shots every day. He wasn't someone ordinary people could afford to look up to. Lady Su took out a red bag. It was quite big. She placed it in her arms, opened it, and took out the items one by one. In-law, I've prepared a dragon and phoenix bracelet, a necklace, and a phoenix coronet. These were all prepared for you a long time ago. Now that you're here to propose marriage, I'll put them on and give them to Mian. I'll be happy if the two of them are happy. Looking at the Su family's lineup, Yang Mayorong was a little confused and didn't know what to say. Yang Mayorong glanced at her daughter. Huamin was still scolding Su Yu. However, to everyone, it looked more like they were whispering to each other intimately. Ahem. Mian. Yang Mayorong coughed lightly and called out to Huamin. Chapter 46-23. Mom, what's wrong? When did you start dating? Why didn't I know? Now that the in-laws are here, I'm not prepared at all. I'm so ashamed. It was obvious that Yang Mayorong was very nervous. Although she didn't know Su Yu's true identity, she heard that his family's surname was Su. Yang Mayorong more or less guessed that it might be related to the Su family, the #1 family in Sea City. Therefore, she nervously placed her hands on her knees and shook them. Although she was a person who had seen the world, and when she was dating Hua Zhenghai, she often attended banquets for wealthy families. But now, she hadn't experienced that kind of life for many years. She suddenly didn't know how to face it. Mom. This is actually... Huamin wanted to explain. However, Su Yu interrupted him. Su Yu stood up and bowed to Yang Mayorong. Auntie Yang, it's my fault. Because the paparazzi often take photos, I didn't expose my relationship with Mian. I was afraid that it would affect her life, so I've been hiding it from my elders. Last night, I told my family about the situation. My family agreed with me, so I came today to propose marriage. I only hope to receive Auntie's blessings. I will use my life to protect Mian. Min was a little surprised. Even if Su-yu was acting, he was too good at it. However, it wasn't easy to drag his family out to cooperate with him, right? Min's mind was in a mess. Jishin secretly used his phone to search for Su-yu's family background. When he saw these key figures, he was dumbfounded. Old Master Su was a commander-level figure. He was a hero who could shake the entire Liaobei army if his feet trembled. Such a family actually came to propose marriage to his sister? Jishin felt like he might be dreaming. Then, he secretly pinched his thigh and almost died from the pain. Su-yu, you. Min turned around and glared at him. Mian, since things have come to this point, let's be honest. Only a relationship with the parents' blessing is a happy one. Plus, I don't want you to feel wronged. To prove that I'm not just playing around with you, I want to marry you. For some reason, Su-yu's eyes reddened when he mentioned the word marriage. Min was good at reading people's minds. He didn't see any trickery in Su-yu's eyes, only sincerity. Strange, why? How long had she known Su-yu? It hadn't even been a month, right? They were even talking about marriage. To this extent. The problem was, she hadn't agreed to go out with him yet. Was this forcing a duck onto a perch? Thinking of this, Min didn't know whether to laugh or cry. It couldn't be Su-yu. Even the way he did things was so strange. He didn't follow the routine at all. Don't normal people get to know each other, interact, date, get engaged, and get married? Why did the two of them seem to know each other? A lot of feelings were left out in the middle. Jishin gently nudged his mother and secretly showed her his phone. After Yang Meirong saw it, her eyes widened and she stood up with a whoosh. Chief. Su. We're from a small family. You. I don't know what to do. If I offended you in any way, please forgive me. Yang Meirong never thought that her daughter would one day date the child of the city's #1 family. That kid's grandfather was a famous figure in the country. Yang Meirong was scared out of her wits. Yang, don't be nervous. I'm not here to inspect as a chief. I'm Su-yu's grandfather, just an elder. I'm here to discuss the marriage of the two children. Old Master Su was very kind the entire time and didn't put on any airs. But Chief, we're obviously not compatible. Our small family isn't good enough for the Su family. Yang Meirong's hands were still trembling. Chapter 46-24. After hearing Yang Meirong's words, Lady Su smiled. Sister, what era are we living in now? Why are you still talking about social status? When I married into the family, Dad didn't make things difficult for me. Now that it's my grandson's marriage, he won't deliberately make things difficult for me. One of the principles of the Su family is that it's fine as long as the child likes it. Lady Su was a very cultured person. She wouldn't get angry easily and had always been gentle. Her smile and words made Yang Meirong feel a lot better. At this moment, Min suddenly stood up and said apologetically, Master Lord Su, Uncle Su, Auntie Su, I'm sorry for being rude. I want to talk to Su-yu alone, is that okay? It's okay, go ahead. The old man waved his hand. He knew that young people nowadays were all open-minded and would be passionate when they were in a relationship. Su-yu, come with me. Min gestured for Su-yu to enter the house. He brought him into his small room and quickly closed the door. Mian, don't be so impatient, okay? I'm not ready yet. How about, after our marriage is settled, find an auspicious day and come to my house, then you big head. Huamin punched Suyu on the head, but he didn't use much force. Why did you hit me? What do you think? Huamin crossed his arms. I brought my family here to propose marriage so sincerely. It's so formal. Weren't people like this in ancient times? Suyu, when did I agree to date you? Are you thinking too much? Huamin was furious. You didn't, but it's okay. We can ignore the details of dating and talk about it after we get married. Let's get married first, Suyu said confidently. So you're forcing me to do something beyond my ability? Huamin glared at him. No, I'm forcing myself on you. After hearing Suyu's shameless words, Huamin was so angry that he laughed. Suyu, believe it or not, I'll stab you to death right now. Huamin deliberately scared him. Whatever, as long as you're happy. Suyu smiled. Huamin, Suyu, are you crazy? Did someone cast a spell on you? Huamin was puzzled. Maybe. So, did you find someone's a spell on me? Huamin, Suyu, stop it. We can't get married. Why? Because we don't have feelings for each other and we know each other very well. It'll be more troublesome to get married in the future, Huamin analyzed logically. It's okay, I don't have any objections. As long as we get married, I'll listen to you. If you tell me to go east, I'll go west. If you tell me to raise a dog, I'll never raise a chicken. Huamin, also, even if you're on top during our wedding night, I'm fine with it. Suyu, you're shameless. Huamin's face immediately turned red. Madam, lower your voice. The elders are all outside. If you shout like that, they'll think we're doing something naughty in the room. Upon hearing Suyu's words, Huamin immediately stopped talking. Suyu, what are you doing? Getting married. The goal is clear. Get married and have kids. I'm only 24. I don't want to have kids so early, Huamin said helplessly. It's okay, I can wait for you. We can have kids whenever you want. Be good. I won't make things difficult for you. Suyu even went up to Huamin to comfort him. Get out of my way. You're not here to propose marriage today. I think you're here to bully the people and kidnap them with your family's power, Huamin scolded Suyu angrily. You can interpret it that way, as long as you're happy. Suyu was still smiling. No matter what Huamin said, he wasn't angry. Chapter 46-25. Suyu, look at yourself in the mirror. You're just the dumb son of a landlord. Huamin dragged Suyu to the dressing table. Suyu looked at the mirror and smiled. The dumb son of a landlord has good taste, stop fooling around. Can you take your family home? That's impossible, unless your auntie rejects us. Then we'll come back another day. If they go well today, our marriage is basically set. Are you forcing me to get married? I'm not, I'm going through the proper procedures. Suyu insisted. Suyu, you know we're not suitable for each other. If you wear inappropriate shoes, your feet will get hurt, understand? I'll wear whatever size you wear. I'll listen to you completely. Suyu was stubborn. No matter what Huamin said, Suyu wouldn't listen. He was determined to get married. Then I'll go out and tell your parents that I don't like you. Huamin used his trump card. Suyu didn't say anything. Huamin continued, your family members are all well-educated and reasonable. They don't look like unreasonable people, so I'm sure they'll respect my words. Mian, if you want to do this, then starting tomorrow. I'll drive my Lamborghini to South Side every day to send you flowers and lunch filled with love. During the night shift, I'll set off fireworks for you at the entrance of South Side. When the time comes, I'll let the whole world know that you're the girl that I, Soo-yu, like. You're completely shameless, aren't you? Upon hearing Soo-yu's idea, Hwa-min's scalp was about to explode. After all, she was a low-key person. If Soo-yu openly confessed his love to her, she would go crazy. So, why don't you give me a chance? What chance? Hwa-min glared at him. Marry me. Don't even think about it. Hwa-min flatly refused. Don't worry, listen to me first. We can get married without getting a certificate first. Then, we can spend a year together. If you don't want to, I won't touch you. A year is enough for us to get to know each other. After a year, if you still think we're not suitable for each other, we'll divorce. You won't lose anything. If you still think we're good after a year, you can go to the Civil Affairs Bureau with me to get a certificate and we can have a wedding. After Soo-yu suggested this idea, Hwa-min was a little tempted. However, after thinking about it, he also felt that something was amiss. Soo-yu, don't even think about lying to me. Isn't this the plot of a CEO novel? I won't fall for it. Who knows, maybe one day you'll get me drunk and sleep with me. When that time comes, I'll get pregnant. How can I not get married? Hwa-min wasn't just for show. Soo-yu's tricks didn't work on her. If you don't agree, then forget it. I think I should bring my family to visit your house once a week. Hwa-min was very angry at Soo-yu's pressure, but he couldn't bring himself to hate him. This was because Hwa-min knew that a man like Soo-yu wouldn't casually propose marriage out of impulse. The Soo family wasn't stupid. There must be a reason for them to come all the way here to propose marriage, right? After talking to Soo-yu for a while, the two of them walked out one after another. At this moment, it was already very lively outside. Young Maerong and the Soo family were chatting. What's going on? Hwa-min muttered in confusion. Ji-shin ran over. Sis. Then can I brag to everyone that I'm Soo-yu's brother-in-law in the future? Chapter 46-26. That's right, but I'm not bragging, because it's the truth. Soo-yu raised his chin smugly. Ji-shin was so excited that he didn't know what to say. She felt as if her sister could really marry Soo-yu, then he would be able to do whatever he wanted in school, right? He remembered that last time, a third-year senior had been together with young Master Tang because of his cousin. Although they had only been together for less than a month, he had gotten a Maserati sports car. He had bragged about it for an entire year, and then many people said behind his back that this guy's sister wasn't in a relationship with young Master Tang. She was just a little wild model who was being played with. She was just a high-class prostitute. Who did she think she was? Now, his sister's situation was different. The Soo family had come to propose marriage. If this matter was exposed, how many people would die of envy? The more Ji-shin thought about it, the more excited he became. Hwa-min and Soo-yu returned to the dining table. There wasn't a single strand of cornmeal left. Grandpa, you're really generous. You ate several bowls yourself. Soo-yu looked at his grandfather and complained with a smile. What's wrong? We're family from now on. What's wrong with me eating a bowl of noodles? Then, Lord Soo looked at Yang Maerong and Hwa-min. I say, in-law. How about you bring the children to our house tomorrow? We can talk about the details of the wedding. What do you think? I'm fine with it. I'll have to trouble you with this. Young Maerong actually called him in-law. Hwa-min's mind went blank. Then, he tugged at his mother's sleeve. Mom. Don't call me in-law yet. It's too early, Hwa-min said tactfully. It's not early. The wedding date is set for the 9th of next month. They said that they're getting engaged this weekend. Ha! Huamin was shocked again. At this time, Lady Su stood up and walked to Huamin. His right hand took out a white silk handkerchief. Huamin didn't know much about silk, but when he touched it, he felt that it was much smoother. Lady Su handed her hand to Huamin. Child, take this. Yu's grandmother gave it to me back then. I heard that it's been passed down in the Su family for hundreds of years. I don't know if it's worth anything, but it's a family memento. The handkerchief in Huamin's hand slowly unfolded against the wind. There was a white jade bracelet lying inside. The color and texture of the bracelet was simply a rare treasure. If this item were to be auctioned off, it would fetch at least 100 million, right? Huamin was so scared that he didn't dare to take it. Auntie, this is too expensive. I can't accept it. You must take it. As Yu's wife, you have the right and qualification. Lady Su spoke very gently, but she was smart enough to make Huamin unable to refuse. Huamin wanted to say something, but Su pointed at the jade bracelet. When my grandmother was still alive, she had a professional professor appraise it. This is a tribute from the Ming dynasty that was passed down to my ancestors. My ancestor was a high-ranking official in the Qing dynasty. It said that there are no more than 3 of them on the market now. One is in the National Museum, one is in the hands of the wife of a famous Hong Kong businessman. The last one is in my house, so this bracelet is worth at least 100 million yuan. Huamian, be careful. If you keep pushing it around and it breaks, it's on you. Huamin's family was really suffering. This family of old and young came to force him to marry her, and they even used such ruthless methods. It was an eye-opener for her. While Huamin wasn't paying attention, Lady Su picked up the table and skillfully put it on Huamin's wrist. Look, it's so beautiful, Huamin. Chapter 46-27. Su Yu's heart bloomed like a flower. His mother was indeed smart. The older, the wiser. As expected, even someone as smart as Huamin was suppressed. Auntie, Huamin held the bracelet with one hand and wanted to say something to Lady Su. Mian, that's all for now. It's getting late, we won't disturb you today. Tomorrow, your family can come to our house for dinner. I'll ask you to pick you guys up. I'll try my best to satisfy any of your requests at the wedding, such as which designer's wedding dress you like, whether you like a Chinese wedding or a Western wedding. Huamin's heart collapsed at this moment. It had only been an hour and a half since she came home from work. How did he suddenly become a member of the Su family? He accepted a huge gift, a priceless jade bracelet, and now he had to participate in the wedding design. Huamin felt that if he wasn't crazy, then everyone was crazy. At this moment, old Master Su also stood up slightly. In-law, I took the liberty of visiting you today. Please forgive me for any inadequacies. Uncle, you're too polite. Yang Meirong was shocked by the Su family. The noodles were delicious. Thank you for your hard work today. Su Yu's father was rarely kind. In-law, if you like it, you're welcome to come often in the future. Auntie Yang, will definitely come often, then. Su Yu glanced at Mr. Su. Dad, you drive my car. Take Grandpa and Mom home first. You're not leaving. Mr. Su looked at his son calmly. I want to stay and wash the dishes, Su Yu said seriously. Do you know how to do it? Mrs. Su looked at her son and smiled. I know how to do it right away. Su Yu, you can go back first. We don't need you to wash the dishes. Go back, how can you let your father drive? Yang Meirong felt that it was inappropriate and chased Su Yu back. Okay then, Auntie Yang, we'll leave first, okay, drive slowly and be careful. Jishin, bye-bye. Logically speaking, this should be the first time Suyu had met Jishin, but he called out his name smoothly as if they were very close. Jishin was still a little shy, so he smiled at Suyu. Mian, rest well, see you tomorrow. Suyu looked at Huamin with tenderness in his eyes. Huamin didn't know what to say. After a while, he said, Suyu, send me a WeChat message when you get home. I have something to tell you. Okay, Mian. Suyu immediately became obedient. When they walked out, Lady Su even joked with Suyu, Mian, your words are even more effective than mine. That's for sure, so I'll side with my wife in the future. Mom, don't be too sad, you naughty brat. Lady Su laughed and punched Suyu's shoulder. The Su family left just like that. Then, young Meirong turned around and looked at Huamin. Huamin thought that his mother was going to scold him, so he didn't say anything. Unexpectedly, young Meirong only said, the Su family is really good. They don't put on airs at all. Mian, when you get married, you have to take good care of your in-laws. Mom, Jishin, hurry up and carry the gift money from the Su family in. Mom, we're rich. 3 million yuan. Can you buy me an electric car? I don't want to take the bus anymore. Huamin broke down again when he heard the conversation between Jishin and his mother. You can't touch this money. This is your sister's gift money. When she gets married, we have to send it back intact. Although we're poor, we can't do anything that will make people look down on us. Mom is right. We can't embarrass my sister. When my sister gives birth to a son in the Su family and stabilizes her position as the young madam, we'll talk about it. Jing Jishin, shut up. Huamin turned around angrily. In such a short time, Jishin even made up a child. Chapter 46-28. After Suyu returned home, things weren't that simple. He had a small family meeting with the Su family. Lord Su spoke first. What do you think of that child? Everyone, tell me. Suyu immediately became nervous. He knew that even if everyone objected, he wouldn't be afraid. However, if his family said that they didn't like Mian, he would still feel uncomfortable. I think that child is quite calm. Although she's young, she has a good aura, Mr. Su commented. Mrs. Su smiled. She looks a little ordinary, but it's good that she has brains. Our Su family isn't marrying a vase home. The most important thing is that she has substance. If you likes her so much, she must have something special about her. Today, I gave her the bracelet to represent my position. Mom, I love you. Suyu excitedly pounced over and hugged Lady Su. Just now at Mian's house, Lady Su saw that Mian was about to reject the bracelet, but she still smiled and let her accept it. Suyu was really touched. All of this was thanks to his mother. Yeah, I don't have any objections. I heard that she's the daughter of the Huo family. Lord Su only used the word daughter and didn't use the word illegitimate daughter. What kind of person was Grandpa Su? If he wanted to investigate someone, he would even investigate their ancestors. Suyu hurriedly explained nervously, Grandpa, you can't blame her for that. I know, let me finish. We don't want to interfere with the Huo family's matters. It has nothing to do with us whether they acknowledge her as their daughter or not. We want to marry this child. We agree to your marriage this time, but you know that I've been in the military for a long time. I only have one request. Grandpa, please tell me. You're not allowed to get a divorce, and you're not allowed to fool around outside. I didn't ask you what you did before you got married. After you get married, you have to be a man and take responsibility for me. Grandpa, I promise I'll do it. I only want one wife in my life. I will never do anything to let her down, nor will I do anything to bring shame to the family. Sue knelt on the ground and swore to the heavens. Mr. and Mrs. Sue had never seen their son so serious. All right, get up. I hope you didn't do it on a whim. Managing a marriage is also a skill. You still have a long way to go. Take it slow. In the end, Master Lord Sue said something meaningful. The Sue family did not object to Sue Yu's marriage. After all, this kid had always been reliable since he was young. This time, they were definitely determined to get married. According to past practice, the rich and powerful families would definitely oppose it. But what kind of person was Lord Sue? How could he not know his grandson's temper? Lord Sue didn't want to make things difficult for Sue Yu. He wanted him to follow his heart when it came to marriage. The most important point was that the Sue family was already very powerful. They simply disdained using the method of marriage to make peace with other families. Therefore, Huamin, an ordinary girl, had already been tested by the Sue family. Of course, the only thing she won was Sue Yu's passionate love for her. She still didn't know how much Sue Yu loved her. After Sue Yu left the Sue family's old mansion, he drove away. Huamin sent a few WeChat messages, but Sue Yu didn't reply. Huamin, are you there? Come out. Huamin, Sue Yu, stop playing dead. What's going on with the marriage proposal? Huamin, Sue Yu, if you don't reply, I'll immediately block you. As soon as she sent this message, Sue Yu immediately replied, Mian, come out for a moment. Chapter 46-29. Huamin, ? Sue Yu, come to your house right now and get dressed. Huamin, why? Sue Yu, I'm taking you out for supper. I saw that you didn't eat a single bite of noodles just now. Neither did I. I'm starving. My grandpa and the others are full, but we stupidly missed dinner. Huamin, you're still thinking about food at a time like this? Sue Yu, if you're unhappy or have any complaints, you can scold me whenever you see me, okay? Huamin was silent for a while before he finally got dressed and left the house. It was summer in the north, so the temperature was a bit low at night. Therefore, Huamin wore a set of sportswear. He wore a long-sleeved black sports jacket, red loose sweatpants, and white sneakers. It was a very trendy outfit, but the brand was too niche. When Huamin left, it was almost 10 o'clock. Jixin and his mother were already lying down to rest. In order not to disturb their sleep, Jixin and Huamin both had their own rooms. His mother had been living in a small bedroom that was built later, and she was used to it. When Huamin opened the door, he saw Sue Yu's black Audi parked outside. Get in. Sue Yu waved his hand, and Huamin sat in the passenger seat. What do you want to eat? Eat you. Huamin stared at Sue Yu with a straight face. Sue Yu immediately smiled shyly. That's not good, right? We're not married yet. Plus, this car is too small, I can't use it. What the hell are you thinking? Huamin was so angry that he didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Didn't you say, you want to eat me? Sue Yu tilted his head and began to act coquettishly. Sue Yu, you're so dirty, I can't even communicate with you. It's okay, you can use body language. After Sue Yu finished speaking, Huamin immediately pinched him hard, causing him to grimace in pain. Don't misunderstand. Mian, what I meant was, you can use sign language to show me. You're getting the wrong idea, stop bullshitting me. Do you think I don't know what you're thinking? Huamin glared at Sue Yu. Then, great aunt, shall we go and eat first? When I'm full, you can torture me as much as you want. Min didn't say anything. He turned his head and looked out the window. Suyut started the car slowly and asked her, "What do you want to eat?" "I don't have much of an appetite." "You can look around." Min really couldn't eat anymore. Too many things had happened in one night. "All right, let's go and have a spicy hot pot," Suyu said with a smile. At this moment, Min took out a wrapped jade bracelet from his pocket. "Suyu, I don't want this. Give it back to Auntie." "Why?" Suyu's face darkened. "Because it's too expensive, and I didn't say that I would become the daughter-in-law of the Su family." Min felt that Lady Su wouldn't explain it to him at all, so he could only give it to Suyu. Suyu was a little upset. "Is this how you trample on our family's sincerity?" I'm not. I'm really, Mian, you're a smart person, and you don't like hypocrisy. So, please tell me, are you still unable to let go of Ning Ziyuan? Of course not. Then you don't like me at all. This question was actually very vague, because no matter how smart a person was, they wouldn't be sure if they liked someone, especially if they hadn't established a relationship. "If you say that you don't like me at all, I'll take the bracelet now and send you home. Then, I'll take the gift money and apologize to your mother. Then, I'll go home and apologize to Grandpa and the others. Suyu, like you very much. But I still don't want to force you. Suyu, take the bracelet back first. We'll talk about the rest later." Min only felt that this 100 million yuan bracelet was too extravagant, and he didn't dare to wear it at all. Suyu glanced at the table. With his left hand on the steering wheel, he picked up the bracelet with his right hand, opened the car window, and was about to throw it out. Mian reacted quickly and pulled him back. "Suyu, what are you doing?" Min was scared out of his wits. Such a fragile thing would shatter if he threw it out, right? Chapter 46:30. Throw it away. Suyu looked very silly and naive. Min frowned and grabbed Suyu's hand tightly. "Are you crazy? This is your family heirloom. What does it matter? If you don't marry me, I won't marry a wife. My grandma's things can't be passed down, so I'll stop thinking about it." Min was so angry that he wanted to say something, but he didn't know what to say. "Suyu, this guy, could sometimes anger you to death with his words, but you couldn't do anything to him." Min knew that Suyu had a lot of money, and Suyu didn't care about money. So if this thing really broke, it would be a loss. Forget it. "I'll keep it for you." Min was really afraid that Suyu would foolishly destroy the bracelet, so he quickly snatched it from Suyu's hand, carefully wiped it, and put it in his pocket. She only lowered her head to wipe the bracelet, but she ignored the smug smile on Suyu's face. He knew it would be like this. There were times when Mian took the bait. It seemed that Suyu came back with the IQ of a few years later. Sometimes, if he was lucky, he could still tie with the 24-year-old Min. Of course, he couldn't bear to destroy his grandma's things. He just wanted to hit Min, but he didn't expect this silly girl to take the bait. Actually, Min didn't think that Suyu was just doing it on purpose. However, she still didn't want to take the risk of destroying this priceless treasure. Of course, the main reason was that she had a good impression of Suyu. There was no doubt about that. Otherwise, even if Ning Ziyuan came to propose with the dragon spring sword, she would kick him away. Min thought that Suyu would take him to eat Oxayan's ramen. To her surprise, Suyu drove into a secluded alley after a few turns. Then, he vaguely saw the lights of a small shop. There were also 2 or 3 tables of guests eating at the entrance. "You can even find this place. You must be a god. Huamin expressed his admiration. This area was also an old city renovation area. It was filled with small alleys. Even the GPS could not find these alleys because the roads did not have names. Of course, Suyu had done his homework and sent people to investigate. Otherwise, he really didn't eat this kind of snack, but Huamin liked it. Now, Suyu only had one principle: as long as Huamin was happy, everything was fine. What would you like to eat? The elderly granny asked with a benevolent expression. 2 sesame seed cakes and 2 bowls of beef vermicelli soup. All right. The granny then turned around, and Suyu found a small wooden table in the corner and sat down. She even helped Huamin wipe the chair with a tissue. Huamin sat down and looked at the small shop. How come I don't know about this place? It's so magical. A few friends introduced it and said that the taste is very authentic. Granny is from Anhui and has been in the north for more than 40 years. After coming here, although she's used to the customs here, she misses the specialties of her hometown. It said that the sesame seed cakes and beef soup are both Anhui specialties. I've never eaten them before. I don't know if northerners are used to it. You can try it first. Okay. Huamin nodded. Before eating, Suyu came up with this little story. Huamin was in a very good mood. It was easy to feel happy when eating in a small shop like this. Especially when he was hungry. In fact, Huamin also liked to eat cornmeal noodles, but today, she was so scared by the Su family that she didn't dare to eat a single bite. Now, her stomach was growling. After a while, the steaming soup and sesame seed cakes were served. Huamin picked up his chopsticks and said, "Let's eat our own food. Don't look at each other." After saying that, Huamin lowered her head and ate like a tomboy. It wasn't rough, but it was definitely not elegant. Suyu took the opportunity to take out his phone and gently took a picture of Huamin. Click, the sound of the camera echoed clearly in their ears. Chapter 46-31. Suyu, what are you doing? Huamin raised his head warily. I'm taking a picture of the old lady behind you. Get lost. I don't believe you. Show me your phone. No. Hurry up and give it to me, no. Do you believe that I'll splash a bowl of beef soup on your face? Huamin tried to scare him. Suyu suddenly shouted, "Everyone, come and see, my fiancé is going to splash beef soup on me. She's trying to murder her husband." Hearing Suyu shout, the people at the surrounding tables immediately looked over. Huamin's face immediately turned red. "Suyu, keep your voice down. Do you want to die?" At this moment, someone at the table next to them laughed and sighed. Young people nowadays really like to show off their love. They're always showing off their affection. Single people like us are really hit hard. Huamin didn't know whether to laugh or cry when he heard this. He temporarily forgot about looking at the photo. The two of them ate until they were full. Even Suyu, who had eaten all kinds of delicacies, was very happy. Of course, it was because he was eating with Huamin. Suyu felt that he couldn't go to Aoxian's ramen with Huamin anymore. Although Qin Chu wasn't here, it was still a place where Qin Chu and Huamin commemorated each other in another world. He couldn't do something so tasteless. Therefore, he planned to make this beef soup shop a place where he and Huamin often came to. He even called it the Memorial of Love. It was almost 11 p.m. after supper, and Huamin was already a little sleepy. Suyu drove her straight to her door. "Mian. I'll pick you guys up tomorrow. Come to my house for dinner." When Suyu said this, he was very nervous because he was afraid that Huamin would reject him. Huamin just smiled and changed the topic. Suyu, give me your phone. What? I want to see the photos. No. Hurry up and hand it over, or you won't be able to leave. This is my territory. Huamin placed his hands on his hips and displayed his imposing manner. Looking at her cute appearance, Suyu couldn't help but laugh. Are you tactfully asking me to stay the night? I can think about it. Stop spouting nonsense. Hand it over and I'll spare your life. How about this? If you let me kiss you, I'll even give you my phone. The shameless mouth is out again. Then you can give me a kiss. We're family anyway. There's nothing wrong with kissing each other. Suyu boasted shamelessly. While Suyu wasn't paying attention, Huamin took a few steps forward and snatched Suyu's phone. Suyu reacted faster and took the opportunity to kiss Huamin's face. Suyu. Before Huamin got angry, Suyu started the car and drove away. Hey, your phone. Huamin raised Suyu's phone and yelled. I'll leave my phone with you for safekeeping. I'll lend it to you for a day. After speaking, Suyu drove away. Huamin didn't know whether to laugh or cry as he took Suyu's phone home. When she got home, her movements were very light, afraid that she would wake up her mother and Jixin. After Huamin returned to his room, he was too lazy to take a shower. He quickly washed his face, changed into his pajamas, and lay down. Then, he took out Suyu's phone and touched the screen. It showed that he had entered a 6-digit password. Huamin immediately felt like he had been played. His phone had a password, how was he supposed to read it? Anxious, she casually entered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Who would have thought that she would be able to guess this idiot's password correctly? At that moment, she suddenly felt like she had hit the jackpot. Then, Huamin couldn't wait to open Suyu's phone and open the photo album. After seeing the photo, Huamin was slightly surprised. Chapter 46-32. There were only a dozen photos in Suyu's photo album. But they were all photos of her. There were photos taken secretly in the hospital, from her back, and from her side. There were also photos taken from upstairs of Huamin passing by downstairs. Although she couldn't see her face clearly, she recognized her own clothes. Huamin never thought that Suyu's photo album would be filled with photos of her. If this was Suyu's way of picking up girls, then it didn't make sense. How did Suyu know that Huamin would snatch his phone today? Did he do it on purpose? It didn't seem like it, because Suyu didn't intend to give her the phone. She snatched it herself. If Suyu really expected this, then it could only be said that this person was too shrewd and terrifying. At this moment, her phone suddenly rang. It was an unknown number. Because it was Suyu's phone, Huamin didn't dare to pick it up or hang up. She could only mute her phone and wait for the other party to hang up. But this number kept ringing over and over again. Finally, Huamin picked up the phone. Hello, we're staff from CCTV. You participated in our event previously, very 6+1. Before he could finish, Huamin hung up the phone decisively and didn't forget to curse, damn liar. Yes, she often received such phone scams. They didn't say that you won a prize, but that you were chosen by something. Then, they invited you to try a new product. They would give it to you for free, but you had to pay for the postage yourself. Another time, even more ridiculous, the scammer said that you were accepted by Tsinghua University and that your acceptance letter was with me. Huamin replied wittily, I don't want it. It's yours. Even the scammer was shocked. After Huamin hung up, she suddenly received another message. It said, Big sister, I was just joking with you. It's me. Hurry up and pick up the phone. You're occupying my phone and not picking up my calls. You're really bullying me. Seeing this sentence, Hua-min immediately understood that the person pretending to be a swindler was actually Su-yu. Hua-min answered Su-yu's call with a smile. Hello liar, goodbye liar. Hey, hey. Madam, don't hang up. After Su-yu begged him, Hua-min did not hang up the phone. This is my other number, haha, you have quite a lot of phone numbers. How is it? Is it easy to use? Do you know the password? Hua-min looked at the phone with disdain. In today's society, only an idiot like you would use 123,456 as the password. I'm impressed. What do you know? Scammers usually can't think of this password. People who find my phone usually go to the repair shop to swipe it, but my phone has a function. As long as someone swipes it, it will immediately send out a location alarm. Then, in less than 10 minutes, my people will find my phone. How can there be someone as perverted as you, taking my phone and entering 123,456? It turned out that Su-yu deliberately set a trap for the scammer, but Hua-min easily guessed it. It was like a professor at a university teaching a group of students. Then, he asked them, what's 1 plus 1? The 20 or so top students in the class didn't dare to answer. The answer was, it was 2. Why didn't they dare to answer something that even elementary school students knew? Because all of them were overthinking the question. Su-yu used 1 2 3 4 5 6 for the same reason. Su-yu, are you a peeping Tom? What? Hua-min's sudden question stunned Su-yu. Why are there pictures of me in your phone? Hua-min was nervous when he asked this question. Chapter 46-33. Su-yu was silent for 5 seconds before he remembered that there were many photos of Hua-min in his phone. Of course, they were all secretly taken when he came back this time. Although the angle wasn't good, he still liked to look at them. Every night before going to bed, he would flip through the photo album. It seemed to have become Su-yu's habit before going to bed. Because I like you, Su-yu said casually. Hua-min didn't know what to say. Do you know that it's illegal for you to secretly take photos like this? I'll sue you. No. Don't sue me. Can we settle this privately? Su-yu said with a smile. Knowing that he was deliberately trying to make her laugh, Hua-min smiled. Mian, I beg you, don't delete those photos, okay? Why? Because they're all I have. Su-yu, you're good. You're experienced in picking up girls. If I wasn't trying to stay awake, I would have been bewitched by you. Mian, really don't delete the photos. No, I'll delete them. Hua-min said this in a fit of pique, but Su-yu was silent. Su-yu? Are you still there? Yeah, I'm here. Su-yu's voice was obviously depressed. I didn't delete them. For some reason, she suddenly wanted to coax Su-yu. She always saw him smiling mischievously. Occasionally, she would feel that he was silent. It was a strange feeling. Okay, thank you, Mian. Perhaps the photos were really important to him. Hua-min didn't delete any of the photos. She didn't delete any of the photos, not even one with a blurry face. This was Su-yu's phone. It was already his, so she wouldn't delete it. After chatting for a while, the two hung up. Lying in bed, Hua-min couldn't fall asleep. She picked up his phone again. Of course, she wouldn't look at Su-yu's WeChat like other women. She wouldn't look at his call records either. She just thought that it was fun. She looked at the games that Su-yu usually played and realized that there were games like Candy Crush. Then, for some reason, he opened Su-yu's memo. He didn't expect Suyu to be a person who liked to use memos. There were many records of the company's meetings and itineraries. Then there was the theme of how many countries and places he had traveled to. At the end of the long list, there was only one message, and the subject was Mian. At this point, Hwamin's heart skipped a beat. She opened the memo nervously. There was only one sentence written on it: "Can I change it to you in my next life? Shed your pride and love me to the point of insanity." For some reason, Hwamin felt like crying when he saw those words. It felt incomparably familiar. However, she had never seen this sentence before, nor had she heard anyone say it to her. It was a magical feeling. Then, for some reason, Hwamin burst into tears. She even thought about it exaggeratedly. Did Suyu write this to Hwamin in his previous life? Then, did Suyu reincarnate with his memories from his previous life? Hwamin didn't sleep well that night. She originally thought that her relationship with Suyu would be a melodramatic drama, but she always inadvertently discovered Suyu's delicate feelings. The next day, Hwamin went to work as usual, but she was absent-minded. Suyu's phone was strangely quiet. No one called. Of course, it was Suyu who set up the interception. It was to prevent those who knew or didn't know from harassing Hwamin. "Sister Mian, do you have any wishes?" the young nurse beside her asked out of the blue. "Me? Maybe my only wish is to become a doctor one day." Hwamin smiled. After work, Suyu drove to pick up Hwamin and then went to Hwamin's house to pick up Yang Meirong and Jishin. He took them back to the Su family's old mansion. Hwamian thought that the Su family would only have those 3 people, but when she arrived, she realized that there were more than 20 family members and friends of the Su family. There were 3 extra tables in the dining room. Chapter 46-34. Suyu, is it Lord Su's birthday today? Nope. Then your house is. Our family tradition is that when I have a girlfriend, I bring her home for the first time. Then everyone will come over, like this, so they all live in our city. Hwamin was shocked. No, most of them are in Jing City in Guangdong, so they came by plane. Yeah, and some came back from Singapore and Hong Kong. Okay, you win. Hwamin didn't expect the Su family to be so grand. Suyu also thoughtfully prepared dresses for Hwamin and his family. They weren't too fancy, just suitable for this occasion. During dinner, Suyu brought Hwamin to each table to toast. Then, they started to recognize relatives, for example, second uncle, cousin-in-law, third aunt. In short, after one round, Hwamin didn't remember a single person. Suyu took the opportunity to pull Hwamin to his room upstairs to rest. Hwamin was still trembling with the red packet in her hand. Is this okay? When they were greeting them just now, everyone had prepared red packets. Hwamin felt like she was going to be rich. This is the Su family's rule. Take it, we'll cheat you if we can. Hwamin was speechless. Mian, drink some water and rest. I'll go downstairs and say something. Okay. Hwamin sat alone in Suyu's room and suddenly didn't feel tired anymore. Then, she got up and put the red packet on the bed. She looked at the furnishings in Suyu's room. The Su family liked mahogany, and it was Chinese. It was very old-fashioned but elegant. Only Suyu's room was special. It was blue. It was a little Mediterranean. There were many old photos of Suyu on the table. There were also pictures of him playing basketball and even posters of Jordan. Hwamin felt that it was very interesting, so she kept looking at it. She even took out her phone to take photos that she found interesting. He would save it for when he needed to use it against Suyu in the future. Suyu went downstairs and greeted the guests. Then, he walked up to his uncle and saw a girl who was about 15 or 16 years old sitting next to his third uncle. Her appearance was exquisite, and her long hair fluttered in the wind. Suyu was touched. Third uncle, is this your granddaughter, Xiao Xiao? Ah, right, it's Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao, hurry up and call him uncle. At this time, Xiao Xiao still had long hair. Although she was rebellious, she was still very obedient in the Su family. She looked up at Suyu and called out, "Uncle." "Good girl," Suyu patted Xiao Xiao's head. Suyu really did not expect that he would be able to see Xiao Xiao on his return this time. Xiao Xiao hadn't grown up yet. She hadn't fallen out with her father and become a trainee under Imperial Star. Then, she became a soldier. Thinking of Xiao Xiao, Suyu suddenly thought of Han Yueyao. Actually, he felt quite sorry for that girl. However, now that everyone in the other world had forgotten about him, Ao Yao should be married by now, right? His thoughts were led astray just like that. By the time Suyu came back to his senses, everyone had already finished eating and drinking tea. Suyu saw that Huamin's mother was a little tired. He quickly said, "Grandpa, Auntie Yang isn't feeling well. I'll send them back first." "Okay, go quickly. Don't let your in-laws suffer." Just like that, Suyu found an excuse and left with Huamin. The rest of the people were all sent to the hotel run by the Su family. The grand family banquet ended just like that. It was like an engagement party. In the car, young Meirong suddenly called out to Suyu. "Hey, Auntie, what is it?" Suyu was very polite. Chapter 46-35. Our family isn't a rich one, but Mion hasn't suffered any grievances in our family all these years. If she marries into our family in the future and does anything wrong, tell me. I'll scold her, but don't hit us. I can't even bear to hit myself. As she spoke, young Meirong's eyes turned red. "Mom, why are you saying this?" Huamin felt that his mother was thinking too far ahead. "Mom, sis is so tough. Only brother Suyu will be hit. She definitely won't be bullied." "Don't worry," Jixin said with a smile. To be honest, Suyu's heart ached when he heard Yang Meirong's words. He understood how a mother felt. It must be hard for her daughter to get married. Suyu replied seriously as he drove, "Auntie Yang, don't worry. I won't lay a finger on Mion for the rest of my life. Really, I won't. Even if she doesn't do well, in my eyes, she's still good." After saying this, Jixin laughed. "Brother Suyu, you're a typical henpecked husband." "No, this is how I show my love for my wife," Suyu said proudly. "Alright, let's not talk about it anymore. Hurry up and drive. Be careful." Huamin was a little embarrassed and didn't want to talk about this topic anymore. At Huamin's house, Suyu stopped the car and picked up all the things the Su family had given him. Then, he said goodbye to them at the door. "Auntie, it's late. You guys should rest early. Brother Suyu, my sister said that you have a lot of limited edition Japanese comics in your room. There's even Slam Dunk." "Okay, I'll go back tomorrow and pack them up. I'll send them all to you." "Wow, really?" Jixin was excited. "That's not a problem." Suyu patted Jixin's shoulder lovingly. To be honest, whether it was Jixin or Yang Meirong, Suyu didn't feel unfamiliar at all. After all, he was already very familiar with them in the other world. "Mion, you should go to bed early too." Suyu looked at Huamin. "Yes. Take the red packet and deposit it tomorrow. It's not safe for you to carry so much cash." "I don't want the red packet. That's not good." Huamin felt that it was not good to eat and take food at Suyu's house. Take it. It's nothing compared to my grandma's bracelet. After that, Suyu smiled, turned around, got into the car, and left. She had never wanted to shamelessly stick to Huamin. After returning to the courtyard, Jixin snatched his sister's red envelope. Sis, I'll help you check. You little money grubber, Huamin smiled and glanced at his younger brother. Jixin opened all the red packets and was stunned. Sis, the Su family is so rich. Even their relatives are so rich. These red packets are all worth at least 20,000 yuan. Some even gave 50,000 yuan. Oh my god, my values have been refreshed. No, it should be said that poverty has limited my imagination. Those red packets were carried back in a handbag. When Huamin carried it, she knew that it was a huge sum of money. Sure enough, there were more than 300,000 yuan in total. It was all cash, sis, a total of 360,000 yuan, Jixin exclaimed. Okay, deposit it for mom tomorrow, Huamin said calmly. She had seen Suyu's family's wealth. Then I helped you check for so long. Aren't you going to give me some money for my hard work? Jixin said with a smile. Huamin took out 50 yuan from her pocket. Here, go and eat KFC. Please, sis, it's not even enough for a family bucket, okay? Then I'll give you another 50. Miss Huamin, I admire you. Jixin took the 100 yuan and smiled as he entered the house. Huamin carried the money to her mother's house. However, she saw her mother crying secretly. Yes, she was crying. Mom, what's wrong? Do you not like Suyu? Huamin asked worriedly. Chapter 46-36. Yang Meirong shook her head. No, I'm happy for you. Nonsense, I don't believe you. Mom, you can't bear to part with me, right? Huamin hugged her mother's neck and acted coquettishly. No, after you leave, I won't have to sleep in my own room. I can sleep in your room and have one less person to eat with. I'll save a lot of money, Yang Meirong cried as she spoke. Of course, she didn't mean that. What mother couldn't bear to part with her daughter? She thought that after breaking up with Ning Ziyuan, Mian would be able to stay at home for a while longer. Who would have thought that she would get married so soon? She wasn't mentally prepared at all. Thinking back to the past 2 days of interacting with the Su family, she felt like she was dreaming. However, what made Yang Meirong very happy was that her daughter had married well this time. Now, she could finally hold her head high. Hua Zhenghai and Jiang Hong didn't have to go too far and talk bad about her and her daughter. Mom, do you feel like a green cabbage that you've been raising for years has been eaten by a pig? When Yang Meirong heard this, she burst out laughing. Don't talk nonsense. Suyu is so handsome. How can you call him a pig? Wrong. What I mean is, Suyu is a cabbage, and I'm a pig. Yang Meirong was amused by Huamin and immediately stopped crying. Then, she turned around and helped Huamin smooth her messy hair. Mian, go ahead, Mom. Although I'm not educated, I can still tell the difference between good and bad people. Although the Su family is a prestigious family, I can tell that they're really nice, especially Commander Su. He doesn't have the airs of an old leader. When you marry him, you have to be filial to him. Mom, I know. Then, there should be less awkwardness between the two of you. Suyuk seems to care about you. Although the process is a little fast, we can't doubt his sincerity. After all, Suyuk took the initiative to propose to you. There's nothing for us to ask for, right? Mom, you're right. Anyway, don't let your imagination run wild. Yang Meirong really didn't know what to say, so she simply gave her daughter a few words of advice. On the other hand, Suyu excitedly took into Tang Chuan's private club. In the spacious private room, Wei Liao and Tang Chuan had already opened several bottles of red wine and were waiting here. Oh, the main character is here. Seeing Suyu enter, Tang Chuan stood up excitedly. Lord Su, when? You even asked us to open 3 bottles of wine and wait for you. Why? Did something good happen at Imperial Star again? Wei Liao asked him. Su Yu shook his head. It has nothing to do with the company. Anyway, it's great news. Shaowen was also confused. He had been on vacation for a few days and had wanted to secretly meet the netizens. However, his best friend had been keeping a close eye on him. As a result, these few days of vacation had been in vain. As soon as he returned to Su Yu's villa, he was brought out by his boss for an appointment. Therefore, other than Su Yu, the other 3 people in the room didn't know what had happened. Hurry up and tell me. I'm dying of anxiety. Tang Chuan was an impatient person. When he heard Su Yu say that he had good news to announce, his heart was already itching. However, Su Yu wasn't in a hurry. He glanced at Wei Liao and asked, "How are you and Dr. Jiang?" "Who's Dr. Jiang?" Wei Liao asked deliberately. "Don't pretend. After I told you last time, didn't you go to the Municipal Public Security Bureau to meet her? Have you been hot these past few days?" Wei Liao was a little embarrassed. That comrade little Jiang is really interesting, but there's nothing between the two of us. Don't spread rumors. Chapter 46-37. There's nothing going on between the two of you. You'll just have a child together in the future. Oh right, if you have a son in the future, his name must be Wei Yunchu. Su Yu pointed at Wei Liao and said very seriously. Tang Chuan, and why? Wei Liao was dumbfounded. Because I like it. Su Yu giggled. Get lost. Wei Liao knew that Su Yu was never serious. Lord Su, let's get to the point. Hurry up. Tang Chuan leaned over impatiently. How's your financial situation recently? Su Yu glanced at him from the corner of his eyes. I don't have money. No need to borrow money, Tang Chuan said on purpose. You want me to borrow money from you? Dream on. Last time, you stole a painting from me that was worth millions. I didn't even ask you for money. Su Yu glared at him. Tang Chuan quickly changed the topic. Lord Su, let's not talk about the past. Ha. Hurry up and talk about today. Su Yu picked up a melon seed on the table and put it in his mouth. I'm getting married. You two should prepare a wedding gift. I accept WeChat and Alipay transfers, but there's a limit. It's best if you can transfer it to me directly through mobile banking. If mobile banking is troublesome, you can tell your company's finance department to transfer it directly to our company's account. Thank you. Fuck. What did you say? Tang Chuan was shocked. Are you kidding? Wei Liao obviously didn't believe him. Today isn't April Fool's Day. I'm not joking with you too. I'm getting married. Do you know? It's next month. Su Yu was smug. Back then, both of them had other halves. Then, they would always laugh at Su Yu for being single. Now, the tables had turned. In this parallel world, Su Yu was the first to end his single life. Because of Su Yu's hint, Wei Liao had just gotten to know Professor Jiang. And where was Tang Chuan's other half? Because in a world without Qin Chu, Su Yu didn't know if Qin Ning would appear. Boss. Boss. Wake up, wake up. It's not dark yet. and hurried over and boldly slapped the boss's face. Wei Liao and Tang Chuan were so happy that they almost fell to the ground. Get lost. I'm not dreaming. You. Even though you're my bodyguard, you're gifts. Otherwise, you're not allowed to come to my wedding. Su pointed at An. And was speechless. Lord Su, stop fooling around. Tell me what's going on. Why do I find it inconceivable? After Tang Chuan stopped smiling, he became serious. Su raised the wine glass beside him. Just yesterday, our Su family met our in-laws. My wife's family all came to our Su family for dinner. Our Su family has been here for more than 20 years, including my aunt in the capital and my third uncle in Guangdong. In short, the entire family came. Fuck, no way. It's such a grand occasion, and you didn't invite me. Tang Chuan cursed. It's because it's too grand that I can't invite you. I'm afraid that you'll drink too much and take off your pants and embarrass me, Su said. Tang Chuan kicked Su's butt. Fuck you, you're the one who's taking off your pants. Lord Su, don't tell me that your bride is the girl who ate hot pot that day. Wei Liao reacted the fastest. Congratulations, you even know how to answer first. Su blew Wei Liao a kiss. Wei Liao was speechless. Tang Chuan was speechless. And was speechless. Boss, I only took 3 days off, and said with a dumbfounded expression. That's right, so I made a big decision in my life for the next 3 days. Boss, are you serious? Are you really going to marry Miss Hua? And was still worried. I, Su, will marry no one but her, Su patted his chest and promised. Then the question is she willing to marry you now? Wei Liao interrupted. Chapter 46-38. Su smiled proudly. Old Wei, aren't you asking a bunch of bullshit? If she doesn't want to, how can I get married myself? Are you sure, Lord Su? Let me tell you, after you get married, if there are any rumors about you, you'll be called a jerk by the netizens. Tang Chuan gave him a friendly reminder. After I get married, I promise there won't be a single female fly by my side. Don't worry. Looks like you're really determined this time. Okay, bro. I wish you a happy marriage in advance. Wei Liao raised the wine glass in his hand. Tonight, Su didn't drink too late and finished early. Ever since they started discussing the marriage, Su felt like he was on cloud 9. He was afraid that if he said or did something wrong, Huamin would be unhappy and break off the engagement. Huamin wanted to talk to Lingling about this, but Lingling had been flying around recently and hadn't returned to Sea City. So, he couldn't find an opportunity. One day, at noon, Su came to find Huamin for lunch. The two of them sneaked into a small shop behind the hospital like thieves. Su parked his car a kilometer away and walked over, afraid that someone was following them. Of course, Huamin didn't want their relationship to be exposed. After all, this was Su. In a Hunan restaurant, Huamin casually ordered a few dishes. I said, Su. Hey, honey, what's your order? Shoo, lower your voice, who's your wife? Huamin was so scared that his face changed. He quickly looked around to see if anyone was looking at them. Next month. Su's smile bloomed like a flower. Su, I'm here today, to talk to you about the wedding. Huamin lowered his head, not daring to look at Su. Wretched girl, you're not going to break the engagement, are you? Su's little heart was beating wildly in fright. One had to know that this proposal was not easy. If he were to propose directly, he would definitely be rejected. That was why Suyu brought his entire family to force her to marry him. It was rare that Huamin had already reluctantly agreed. If there were more changes now, he was afraid that, no. Huamin shook his head. Thinking that she had already met all the elders of the Su family, if she were to break off the engagement now, wouldn't she be throwing the Su family's face? Huamin did not want to do such a thing, nor did he want to be ungrateful. Being able to marry into the Su family was indeed a blessing that many women dreamed of. Then what do you want to say? Is there something that you don't like? Suyu was relieved when he heard that it was not breaking off the engagement. Actually, I want to say that we don't have such a big wedding. I know that the Su family is rich and powerful, but I don't want the whole city to know about it. Also, I heard that the country's policies are very strict, especially when it comes to the marriage of the children of officials. We can't be extravagant and wasteful. We have to think about Lord Su, right? After Huamin finished speaking, he looked at Suyu's expression. Suyu was silent for a while before saying, "You mean, we should keep a low profile?" Huamin nodded furiously. Yes, yes, yes. We have to keep a low profile. This suits my personality the most. Then I'll let Grandpa know. Then we'll keep it simple and keep it low profile. Okay. Huamin smiled like a flower. He thought that with Suyu's flamboyant personality, he would definitely strongly object. Huamin did not expect things to go so smoothly. Instantly, he felt very gratified. But, when do you plan to register your marriage with me? Ha! Huamin did not expect Suyu to suddenly ask this. We can register our marriage anytime. There's no rush for that, Huamin said as he ate. Who said there's no rush? I'm so anxious. I'm afraid that you'll break your promise, Suyu said honestly. That anxious look of hers almost made Huamin laugh to death. You still have the cheek to laugh. Suyu glared at her with a dark expression. It was all because of her. He had been suffering from insomnia for the past few days. Chapter 46-39. I can't run away, what are you worried about? We can register our marriage any day. I think it's better to do it today than to pick a date. Today. Huamin froze. Yes, let's go after dinner. But I'm at work. Huamin found an excuse. You can take 2 hours off. 2 hours is enough. But I don't have my household registration booklet with me. I can send someone to get it from your house and meet us at the Civil Affairs Bureau. Huamin was speechless. Mian, is that okay? This was probably the first time in his life that Suyu was acting cute. Suyu was afraid that Huamin would reject him, so for the first time, he pouted and stared at Huamin cutely. Huamin really couldn't bear to reject his pitiful look, so he fell deeply into his trap. Then, okay, I'll call my mom and tell her. Suyu's decisions were all very sudden, so Huamin thought about it and felt that it made sense. Since he had decided to get married and had accepted so many gifts from Suyu's family, it was impossible for him to break the engagement now. Therefore, it was only a matter of time before they registered their marriage. He heard that the Su family was looking for an expert to pick the wedding date next month. Huamin didn't know about these things, so he left everything to Suyu's mother. After dinner, Huamin made 2 calls. One was to tell his mother that Suyu's people were going to get his household registration booklet. The other was to call the hospital and ask for 2 hours of leave in the afternoon. Then, Huamin got into Suyu's car and the two of them went to the Civil Affairs Bureau. After and received Suyu's instructions, he drove the Lamborghini to Huamin's house at lightning speed. After getting his household registration booklet, he immediately rushed to the Civil Affairs Bureau. The timing was just right. Suyu and Hwamin got out of the car and handed over his household registration booklet. Another person from Suyu's company came in a Mercedes-Benz and brought 2 white shirts from a certain famous brand. Come, change into this later. What? Looking at the white shirt, Hwamin was stunned again. I heard that white shirts look good in wedding photos, Suyu said. How do you know? Have you ever been married? Hwamin looked at him with amusement. Even if you haven't eaten pork, you've seen pigs run. Alright, you're going to be a bully here. Be good. Hurry up and change your clothes. Suyu patted Hwamin's head and coaxed him into the room. Boss. Are you trying to kidnap a young girl? And chuckled. Get lost. I want to get married. If anyone dares to stop me, I'll chop them up. Suyu scolded jokingly and entered the Civil Affairs Bureau with the white shirt. Suyu was going to make a call to the leaders here and ask for special treatment. However, Hwamin refused and insisted on waiting in line. In the end, they waited for half an hour before it was their turn. Hwamin, Suyu, right? Yes. Give me your ID and household registration booklet, the staff member said. The 2 of them handed it over. After reviewing the documents, the staff member asked routinely, have you thought about it? Yes, we've thought about it for a long time. Suyu couldn't wait. Hwamin was so angry that he pinched him. The staff member couldn't help but laugh. Take good care of your wife after you get married. Do more work that a man should do. Don't be too calculative and tolerant. Okay, I'll definitely do it. Suyu was also an obedient child today. No matter what the staff member said, he would do it. In the end, after receiving the marriage certificate, Suyu couldn't bear to put it down. He held it in his hand and looked at it repeatedly. After Hwamin received the red booklet, she had mixed feelings. She had thought that she would graduate from university with Ning Ziyuan and get married smoothly. Then, the 2 of them would go into medicine. She thought that it would be good, but she didn't expect so many things to happen. Most importantly, she didn't expect to marry Suyu. Suyu. Hwamin suddenly wanted to say something. Call me hubby. After Suyu tricked her, he changed his attitude and directly threatened Hwamin. Chapter 46-40. Hwamin blushed. Keep your voice down. What are you afraid of? Everyone here is here to register their marriage. Quick, call me hubby. Suyu knocked on Hwamin's head to tease him. Call you my ass. Suyu, you're too much. If you don't want to call me that, fine, I'll kiss you in front of everyone. I'll see if you're embarrassed. With that, Suyu hugged Hwamin. Hwamin was really afraid that he would kiss him in public. He quickly called out, hubby. What? I didn't hear you. Suyu, don't push your luck. You're still calling me Suyu. Fine. From now on, you have to call me hubby. If you call me hubby once, I'll fine you 20 yuan and deduct it from your salary. Suyu, don't burn the bridge after crossing it. I really fell for your trick. You weren't like this when you begged me to come. Hwamin was both angry and amused. Yeah, I change my mind faster than flipping a book. If you're not happy, you can kiss me. Hwamin was speechless. Suyu, come, let me tell you. Do you know where that is? Hwamin pointed to a place and asked Suyu. Suyu was speechless. Suyu wasn't familiar with this place, so he really didn't know. That's where you get a divorce. If you keep pretending, I'll drag you to get a divorce right now. What a joke. If I don't get a divorce, you won't be able to get one yourself. Are you bullying me because I'm not well educated? Suyut smiled smugly. But I heard that the marriage law states that if one party is separated for more than half a year, they can automatically file for divorce. Separated for half a year. You're really ruthless. I was wrong. From today onwards, I'm yours. I'll do whatever you say. If you tell me to go east, I won't dare to go west. If you tell me to beat a dog, I won't dare to beat a chicken. I'll do whatever you say. Suyu finally didn't dare to continue pretending. In fact, one could see the status of the family before marriage. Holding the little red book, Suyu suddenly felt that the whole world was bright. When other people registered their marriage, they would give the staff here some wedding candies. Suyu, on the other hand, directly ordered takeout for all the staff of the Civil Affairs Bureau. The dishes were comparable to a wedding banquet. He was truly the #1 tycoon. After collecting the certificate, Suyu sent Hwamin back to the hospital. Honey, I'll pick you up after work. Don't bother, I'll go back by myself. No, I meant to take you back to my house, my private villa. Why are we going to your house? Hwamin was still confused. From today onwards, we're legally married. If we don't go to my house, do we go to your house? It's not that we can't go to your house. It's just that your bed is a little small, I'm afraid it'll affect my performance. After hearing this, Hwamin went up and grabbed Suyu's ear. Can you stop talking dirty with me? Are you bullying me because I don't know anything? Ouch, ouch. Don't pull, it hurts. Honey, I was wrong. I'll pick you up after work and send you back to your house. No need, my mom already said that the bride and groom can't see each other too often before the wedding. It's not good. Who said that? Aren't we separated for 7 or 8 hours when we go home to sleep? It's not like we're stuck together 24/7. You always have a twisted logic. Hwamin laughed. How about this, from today until the wedding, I'll ask him to pick you up from work and protect you. No need, I'm a nurse with a salary of 4,000 yuan a month. Who can kidnap me? Of course it's different, because from today onwards, you're Suyu's wife. Suyu looked into Hwamin's eyes and said word by word. Chapter 46-41. For some reason, Hwamin's heart started beating wildly after hearing Suyu's words. She had never thought that one day, others would call her Lady Su. Being Suyu's wife was a gold medal in itself. She could do whatever she wanted in the entire sea city. However, Hwamin wasn't that ambitious. Until now, she still found it unbelievable that Suyu fell in love with her at first sight and wanted to marry her. To be honest, if the Su family hadn't come to propose marriage that day, if Suyu had proposed himself, Hwamin would have definitely rejected him because she felt that this matter was too unreliable. However, Suyu's grandfather, such a powerful old man, had personally come to her house. It had indeed moved her and her mother. The Su family's sincerity was really great. Therefore, Hwamin wasn't someone who didn't know what was good for her. Now that they had registered their marriage, the two of them were legally recognized as husband and wife. This feeling suddenly felt very subtle. In the end, Hwamin didn't say anything. She only smiled. Then, she said goodbye to Suyu and walked towards the hospital. Suyu looked at her back until she walked inside and couldn't be seen. Then, Suyu drove away. At the headquarters of Imperial Star. Less than half an hour after Suyu returned to the company, the finance department issued an announcement. President Su said that all the employees would be paid double this month, and their overtime pay would be tripled. Also, the female employees would have a 1,000 yuan shopping card, and the male employees would have a 1,000 yuan gas card. The moment this news came out, the entire company was in an uproar. Everyone was guessing what was going on with the boss. Did he close a big project? However, no one dared to ask Suyu directly. Only An knew what was going on. In the office, Suyu took a photo of the little red book with his phone. Then, he sent it to his friends. Actually, there were only 3 words in it. Other than Suyu, there were only Wei Liao and Tang Chuan. Come, let me show you this. Suyu's face was full of pride. Tang Chuan, fuck, what's this? Could it be the legendary band tightening spell? Suyu, get lost. Wei Liao, so fast. It couldn't have been done at the fake certificate office, right? Suyu, you two are fake brothers. Appraisal complete. Tang Chuan, stop fooling around. Did you really get your marriage certificate? Suyu, yes. Wei Liao, have you found a team of lawyers to settle the premarital division of assets? Suyu, no. Suyu did not finish his words. The two of them were shocked. Tang Chuan, that is to say, if your newlywed wife divorces you after a few months of marriage, she will be worth billions. Wei Liao, not only that, but also shares and funds. All the assets under Suyu's name will have to be split in half. Tang Chuan, fuck. I want to marry you too. Suyu, I say, can you two stop fooling around and speak human language? I got my marriage certificate today. Besides, I've never thought of getting a divorce. I'll never get a divorce. No, for 2 lifetimes, I'll never get a divorce. Although Tang Chuan and Wei Liao liked to fool around with him, they knew that Suyu was not a fool. He would not marry a girl for no reason and not even settle the division of assets. Tang Chuan believed in love at first sight. It meant that you felt that the person was your wife at first sight. However, Wei Liao was more rational. He had a feeling that Suyu was hiding something from them. However, Suyu did not say anything because it was not the right time yet. He believed that this girl named Huamin and Suyu were fated to be together. If not for Huamin's repeated reminders to keep a low profile, Suyu really wanted to post their marriage certificate on Weibo and WeChat to show off. After all, he was no longer single. After being excited for a while, he immediately sent a WeChat message to Huamin, "Honey, I miss you very much." Chapter 46-42. Suyu saw it and smiled sweetly. Look at his smug look. Even his smile is so lewd. I really can't stand it. Tang Chuan was angry. He had a reputation for being a playboy all his life, but in the end, Suyu beat him to it. The 3 of them had been single for thousands of years, and none of them had a girlfriend. Now, Suyu suddenly got married in a flash. To Wei Liao and Tang Chuan, it was a big blow. As for Suyu's marriage partner, the 2 of them had no idea. Of course, they still had confidence in Suyu. Since Suyu liked the person, she must be a dragon or phoenix among men. Huamin held the phone and felt that it was unnecessary. One day, when they were having dinner, he returned the phone to him. What's wrong? Have you had enough fun? Yes, I'm bored. Let me see if you have deleted my WeChat friend list. Suyu said deliberately and then scrolled through the phone. TSK, am I such a tasteless person? Huamin smiled. Let's get a new phone later. It's a limited edition for couples. I have already custom-made it with the phone manufacturer. It will take at least 3 months to get it back. Are you crazy? What kind of phone can't you use? Why do you need to custom make it? Huamin was dumbfounded. Just listen to me. Suyu was in a good mood, and then he ate the plate of stir-fried beef with gusto. Min realized that Suyu did not like to eat vegetables. He had been eating meat, but fortunately, his body was well proportioned and he was not fat. You like to eat meat? Nonsense, I'm not a monk. Of course, I like to eat meat. But I've been eating with you for so long, and I realized that you don't even eat a single green leaf. Min looked at him. Yes, green leaf is for ducks. Why would I eat it? Do you know how many vitamins are in vegetables? If you keep eating meat like this, you'll be a bald uncle with a big belly before you're 50 years old. Greasy. At the end, Min deliberately added a greasy word. Really? I'm a medical student. Don't you trust me? Suyu looked at Min suspiciously, then, he decided to continue eating the beef. Min snatched the stir-fried beef and pushed the stir-fried broccoli in front of Suyu. Eat it all, Suyu, we have to eat it all. Then call me husband. Suyu bargained. Min smashed Suyu's head with his chopsticks. While the two of them were talking and laughing, a person suddenly walked over. What a coincidence. Hua Xiqian was still dressed as brightly as ever. Even his short-sleeved shirt was orange, and his hair was dyed linen. This Hua didn't look like a boss at all. Instead, he looked like an 18th-tier male model who had just entered the entertainment industry. Oh, what a coincidence. President Hua is also here for dinner. Suyu smiled. Suyu and Mian went to eat at a private Chinese restaurant that was very delicious. Min liked the vegetarian food here, so Suyu often came here. He didn't expect to meet Hua Xiqian here. Sister Mian, your face has been round recently. Did Suyu feed you? Hua Xiqian glanced at Min and smiled gently. Min had never liked her. It was like this in that world, and it was the same in this world. Even though they were half-siblings, Min still hated her. Faced with Hua Xiqian's question, Min didn't say anything. How long have you two been dating? You're good at keeping it a secret, no media outlets have reported it. Hua Xiqian continued to look at Suyu. Suyu slowly picked up his glass and took a sip of water. Then, he smiled and said, "We've been married for less than a week." Chapter 46-43. After hearing this, Hua Xiqian was completely petrified. Get married? In a week? Hua Xiqian looked at Min in disbelief and then looked at Suyu. No way. Don't tease me. Why would I tease you? The wedding is next month, and we got our marriage certificate a week ago. Oh right, remember to come for a drink on the 8th of next month. Suyu stood up and patted Hua Xiqian's stiff shoulder. Speaking of the 8th of next month, there was another story. Originally, the expert that Lord Su found was looking at the 26th of next month. However, Suyu refused no matter what. He said that it was too far away and that a long night might lead to trouble. He asked the expert to choose again, and the expert chose the 12th. Suyu still thought it was too far away and insisted on getting married on the 1st or the 2nd. The expert told Lord Su that it was not suitable to get married on the 1st or the 2nd as it would offend the White Tiger planet. Only then did he give up. In the end, the expert had no choice but to pick a good date on the 8th of the first 10 days. Only then did he appease Suyu. It was obvious how anxious he was to get married. That was why he told Hua Xiqian that he would get married on the 8th of next month. Hua Xiqian still didn't believe it. After all, this was too sudden. He knew that Min had always been reliable, so he looked at Min and asked. Sister Mian, is what he said true? Are you two teaming up to mess with me? It's true. Remember to bring more gifts so that the Hua family won't be embarrassed, Min said coldly. Then why didn't you tell Dad about such a big thing like getting married? Hua Xiqian continued to laugh. I don't think that's necessary. After all, this is my own business. Hua Min's face was still cold. Hua Xiqian shook his head helplessly. All right, my willful little sister. Now that you've gotten close to the Su family, you don't want to acknowledge us anymore. Please take care of our family's business in the future. President Hua, you're exaggerating. I wouldn't dare take care of you. With you around, the Hua family won't go bankrupt. The conversation between Hua Min and Hua Xiqian had always been on point. Su Yu was already used to it. Originally, he was worried that this pervert would have designs on Hua Min. However, in this world, because they were siblings, Hua Xiqian was quite honest. Moreover, Hua Xiqian had a bunch of women outside. It was said that he had already given birth to a few illegitimate children. It seemed that his ambition was his career, not Hua Min. This way, he had one less enemy. Su Yu was in a good mood. Hua Xiqian was just a small interlude. After the two of them finished dinner, Su Yu drove Hua Min home. During this period of time, Hua Min had gotten used to eating with Su Yu and having him drive him home. It was strange. They hadn't known each other for long, so there should be a strong sense of unfamiliarity. However, Hua Min always felt that he had known Su Yu for a long time. Every time he called her Mian, she felt that it was very familiar. On the way back, in the car, Hua Min was a little thirsty. Su Yu quickly picked up the mineral water beside him and handed it to him. Then, he even helped to turn the steering wheel. Be careful and watch the road. Seeing Su Yu's hands leave the steering wheel, Hua Min was scared out of his wits. I'll drive slower. Drink slowly. Don't choke. Su Yu stared at Hua Min's side profile and slowed down the car. Hua Min drank a few mouthfuls of water and glanced at Su Yu. Su Yu. Call me hubby. Hua Min, not again, of course. We're already legally married. Have you ever heard a wife call her husband Zhang San or Li Si? After hearing Su Yu's explanation, Hua Min couldn't help but laugh. However, he accepted Su Yu's explanation. Therefore, he changed his words. Hubby, I have a question for you. Wait, I'll record it. Call me that again. Su Yu turned on the recording function on his phone. What? Hua Min was confused. Chapter 46-44. This is the first time in Hua Min's life that she's called me hubby. What a memorable moment. Hua Min couldn't stop laughing. Su Yu, can you do it? Wrong, you'll be fined 20 yuan. Hua Min, honey, why don't you just give me 500 yuan for a year? You always call me by the wrong name. That won't do. It's 500 yuan, why should I give it to you for free? Then don't call me by the wrong name. Forget it, forget it. I'll get straight to the point. Actually, I wanted to ask, did you have a girlfriend before? No. Then the ones in the newspaper, those are all hype. Those are all rumors, understand? If you don't believe me, you can ask my mom and my brothers if I had a girlfriend. Before Hua Min, Su Yu had indeed never had a girlfriend. When he was in school, everyone had a goddess in their hearts. Su Yu either played basketball or games. Later, he went to the army and was gone for a few years, so he didn't have time to date. After he was demobilized, he started a company and was busy with his career. Now that his career had just started, and Su Yu was only in his 20s, he wasn't in a hurry. Why are you asking this all of a sudden? Did someone say something bad about me to you? Hua Min shook her head. Then why did you suddenly ask this? Because I always feel that there's someone in your heart, Huamin said. Suyu was driving. After hearing Huamin's words, he felt his heart skip a few beats. Huamin was indeed a shrewd woman. She could even tell. Suyu had someone in his heart, and that person was Huamin. Huamin, Suyu couldn't say it. He couldn't explain how he came to this parallel world. Moreover, even if he did, Huamin might not believe him. What? Am I right? Mian, I don't want to lie to you. So, from now on, every word I say is true. Listen carefully, Suyu, have only ever loved one woman in my life. Her name is Huamin. I, Suyu, only have one wish in my life, and that is to marry Huamin. Be it in our previous life or our next life, you will always be my one and only. Suyu said this while driving. As he spoke, he did not look at Huamin. Instead, he looked straight ahead. It was late at night, and they were passing by the sea bridge. The view of the sea bridge at night was magnificent. Huamin was caught off guard by Suyu's affectionate confession. Other than his heart beating wildly, he didn't know what else to say. She completely believed Suyu's words. Because one's eyes and expression wouldn't lie. Suyu's eyes were so sincere, Huamin believed that he was sincere. However, she and Suyu. What kind of fate did they have in their lives? Why was Suyu so obsessed with her? And why did Huamin think that she was so ordinary? After Suyu confessed, the two of them didn't say anything. The music in the car was playing, just once. Huamin looked at Suyu's handsome side profile, leaned over, and kissed him. Then, she said, Suyu, in this life, I'll give my heart to you. Protect it well. Don't lose it. After Huamin finished speaking, Suyu's tears immediately flowed out. God knows how long he had waited for this moment all these years. Suyu suddenly slowed down the car and stopped at the edge of the bridge. Then, he cupped Huamin's face and kissed her passionately. He only hoped that this kiss would last until the end of time. Mian. I've finally waited for this moment.
Chapter 46-45. Huamin's response was the greatest gift to Suyu. After so many years of hard work, Suyu finally got his reward today. Because the bridge was a freeway, parking was not allowed. Soon, the traffic police drove over. Sir, parking is not allowed here. Suyu turned his head. The traffic police was dumbfounded. Young Master Su, it's you. The weather is good today. My wife and I came to the bridge to kiss. What's wrong? Is it against the law? No, please continue. Sorry to disturb you. The traffic police was so scared that he quickly drove away. Suyu picked up Huamin and wanted to kiss her. That's enough, you have to follow the traffic rules. Huamin pushed him away and ran into the car shyly. Suyu cursed the traffic police thousands of times in his heart. Honey, do you want a Chinese wedding or a Western wedding? I'm fine with either. Huamin was not picky. Then we'll have both, Suyu said. That's too wasteful, one is enough. You only get married once in a lifetime, what's there to be afraid of? Oh right, my mom said that the wedding dress will be flown back from Italy next Monday. I'll pick you up and try it on. If it doesn't fit, we can change it in time. Is it in a hurry? It has to be in a hurry. Okay. Huamin had no objections to these details. Oh right, the ring. You don't have to buy the ring. It's just a formality. Nonsense, the ring has already been ordered, but it's not with me yet. It'll be flown over tomorrow night. Suyu had really put in a lot of effort for this wedding. Although Huamin said that they had to keep a low profile. The Su family's low profile was still 10,000 times more luxurious than other families. Do you have a bridesmaid in mind? Su Yu asked her. Yes. Zhu Lingling. How do you know Lingling? Huamin clearly remembered that he had never mentioned Zhu Lingling to Su Yu. Moreover, Lingling had been flying overseas and hadn't returned for more than a month. She didn't even know how she met Su Yu. I heard Jixin mention her once. He said she's your best friend. Su Yu guiltily found an excuse. Huamin didn't notice anything strange and nodded. She's my best friend. I only have one good friend. Yes, you have to invite her. I've already asked someone to make a bridesmaid's dress according to her measurements. Su Yu was very thoughtful, and Huamin felt at ease. She didn't know why, but she, who had never believed in flash marriages, actually felt that her wedding with Su Yu was destined this time. Soon, they arrived at Huamin's house. Huamin was about to get out of the car, but Su Yu didn't want her to leave and hugged her tightly in his arms. I'm getting out. Good girl, let me hug you for a while. Su Yu felt like he was dreaming. If he woke up now and realized that it was all a dream, he would probably have a mental breakdown. It would probably be more painful than death. He only had one wish in his life.
Now that he had the beauty in his arms, he really didn't want anything else. Stop fooling around, it's late, Huamin whispered shyly. Honey, let's play a game. What game? Huamin was indeed too naive. Why would he play a game with Su Yu in the middle of the night? Promise me first. Okay, I promise you. Huamin answered innocently. Then, Su Yu's restless hand began to rub her back. He touched the edge of her underwear. The name of this game is Guess Your Bust Size. After Su Yu finished speaking, he began to touch her back even more unscrupulously. Chapter 46-46. When Huamin realized what was going on, he realized that he had been tricked by Su Yu again. Huamin was so angry that he jumped up and hit Su Yu's head with both hands. Looking from afar, it was as if a young couple was showing off their love. Okay. Go back now. Auntie will be worried. Su Yu couldn't stop laughing. Just wait for tomorrow, Huamian yelled, still not satisfied. Don't worry, you have a lifetime to deal with me. Su Yu laughed. Huamin was a bit uncomfortable, perhaps because he wasn't used to Su Yu's sudden words of love. After Huamin got out of the car, his hair was a bit messy, probably because he was messing around with Su Yu. As usual, Su Yu watched her walk back to the yard. Just then, their neighbor, Auntie Wu, walked up to Huamin. Mian, Auntie Wu. It was quite awkward to run into Auntie Wu at this time. You're back so late. As Auntie Wu said this, she looked at the black Audi not far away, trying to see who was sitting inside. Oh, I was having dinner with a friend. Huamin smiled. Mian, Auntie Wu doesn't want to nag you, but I watched you grow up. You can't be like those girls out there. What do you mean by hooking up with a rich man or being a mistress? We're poor, but we have to be ambitious, right? Auntie Wu held a fan and started lecturing Huamin. Huamin knew that Auntie Wu must have misunderstood, so he smiled and didn't say anything. Just as he was about to turn around and go in, he heard Su Yu call from behind, Honey, you left your charger in the car. Huamin's body froze. When Auntie Wu heard the word, honey, her eyes almost popped out. Then, Su Yu swaggered over with a charger in his hand. Actually, this wasn't Huamin's fault at all. He probably heard the neighbor's unpleasant words and wanted to help Huamin get out of the situation. Mian, this is... When Auntie Wu heard this kid call Huamin his wife, she was so shocked that her jaw almost dropped. I'm Huamin's husband. Hello, Auntie, Suyu greeted her generously. Hubby. Mian, when did you get married? Auntie Wu asked in surprise. Without waiting for Huamin to speak, Suyu continued, about a week ago. We got our marriage certificate. The wedding will be on the 8th of next month. Auntie, remember to come and drink. Okay. Why didn't your mom tell you about this, Mian? Auntie Wu was obviously surprised. Yang Meirong didn't tell anyone about her marriage with the Su family. It was like her daughter losing a rich husband. That wasn't Yang Meirong's style. Su Yu's attempt to help her was unnecessary. Huamin didn't care about what others thought. After sticking around for a while, Su Yu reluctantly left. That night, the news of Huamin marrying a rich man spread throughout the streets and alleys of the civilian district. Auntie Wu only knew that Huamin's man was rich and drove a black Audi. She didn't know what he did. Then, she said that the young man was handsome and young. Huamin was really lucky. When Huamin went to work the next morning, even the old man selling breakfast on the street gossiped, "Girl, you're so lucky. I heard you married a rich man. It's not a lot of money." Huamin felt awkward. At South Side, when Huamian arrived at work, her colleagues surrounded her and hugged her. "Mian, why did you resign all of a sudden? Seriously, we can't bear to part with you." "Resign?" Huamin was confused again. Chapter 46-47. Huamin didn't even know about her resignation. Seeing her confused face, her colleague reminded her, "The hospital released an announcement this morning saying that you've resigned. You're here today to go through the paperwork." I. Huamin swore that she didn't know anything. At this moment, an elegant voice came from behind. "Mian. Auntie Su." Huamin turned around and saw Su Yu's mother. "I was the one who helped you quit your job." Lady Su smiled. Huamin was still in disbelief. "I've been preparing a lot of things recently, and it's not very convenient for you to go to work, so I wanted to let you rest for a while. But don't worry, after this critical period, you can come back if you want. I was the one who told President Wu. I was presumptuous, so please don't blame Auntie for acting on her own." Lady Su's gentle tone made it impossible for anyone to be angry. "Auntie, it's fine. What could Huamin say? He had to respect his future mother-in-law's decision." Seeing the conversation between Su Yu's mother and Huamin, everyone was confused. "Then hurry up and go through the paperwork. I'll take you somewhere later." "Okay." Just like that, Huamin went through the paperwork and left South Side in a daze. Then, he followed Su Yu's mother to try on the wedding dress, wedding shoes, and Chinese wedding gown for the toast. After a day, he was so tired that he almost vomited blood. Then, after the whole day, Huamin was still in a daze and felt like he was in a dream. Was this the story of Cinderella marrying into a rich family? Huamin still felt that everything was too smooth and too simple. He felt like he had missed out on some important information. Zhu Lingling flew back from abroad the day before Huamin's wedding. Originally, she didn't have a vacation, but Huamin said that he was getting married. Zhu Lingling even quarreled with her supervisor to ask for leave before she rushed back. Inside a barbecue restaurant near Huamin's house. "Sis, what do you mean? You married yourself off without saying anything." Huamin lowered his head guiltily. "Where's your man? Let me see him." Zhu Lingling slammed the table angrily. She really didn't know which bastard could make Huamian was willing to get married in a flash. After the incident with Ning Ziyuan, Zhu Lingling swore that she would find a better man for her sisters. But this girl's actually Hua-s get married. Tst, SSS, Hun's Mian have a date. Zhu Lingling was lecturing Huamian. Hua. As soon as he entered, he saw Huamin sitting in the corner as if he had been bullied. Suyu walked over and sat beside Huamin. You. Zhu Lingling was obviously agitated when she saw Suyu. She had always paid attention to entertainment news, so it was impossible for her not to know Suyu. However, this was the first time she saw Suyu in person. He was much better looking than in the photos on TV. He was wearing a white short-sleeved shirt and looked extremely refreshing. He sat down beside Huamin naturally and even poured her a glass of warm water. Suyu. Hello, Mian always talks about you. She says you're her best friend. Zhu Lingling was completely dumbfounded when Suyu used best friend twice in a row. Mian. You're going to marry Suyu. Zhu Lingling still couldn't imagine it. She really didn't dare to imagine that Huamin and Suyu would be together. Huamin nodded slightly. Oh my god. Can someone tell me what's going on? Zhu Lingling roared. Chapter 46-48. 15 minutes later, Huamian gave him a brief account of what had happened. Zhu Lingling was dumbfounded. Fuck. Love at first sight really exists in this world. Lin Fan mumbled to himself. Of course, Siyu said proudly. I'm so envious of you. My Mian. I wonder when my Mr. Right will appear. Zhu Lingling was genuinely happy for Huamin. She didn't comment on Suyu's past. She was just proud that the Su family had collectively gone to Huamin's house to propose marriage. Zhu Lingling felt that the Su family would definitely treat Huamin well. Besides, being able to marry someone like Suyu was already very impressive. What more could she ask for? You might meet your Mr. Right at the wedding tomorrow. Suyu smiled meaningfully. I hope so. Come, let me wish you two a happy wedding. Zhu Lingling was in a great mood. She raised her glass and offered to drink with Huamin and Suyu. Huamin snatched her glass away. Don't drink too much. You're the bridesmaid tomorrow. Yes. I'm the bridesmaid tomorrow. I'll dress up beautifully. After all, there will be a lot of rich people at the wedding tomorrow. What if one of them takes a fancy to me? Zhu Lingling was still good at self-deprecating. When Siyu saw her, he felt touched, as if he hadn't felt this way for a long time. There were many details to be done at the wedding, so Suyu was busy the entire day. After returning home that night, he immediately sent Huamin a WeChat message. Suyu, honey, are you asleep? Huamin, I'm asleep. Suyu, how can you talk when you're asleep? Huamin, just treat it as if I'm sleepwalking. Suyu, stop fooling around. Let's chat for a while. I'm so nervous. Huamin, why are you nervous? Suyu, I was afraid that you would run away. Huamin, Suyu, it's true. You have no idea how long I've been waiting for this day. Huamin, don't make it sound like you knew me in your previous life. It hasn't even been 2 months since we met, okay? Suyu, Mian, I won't let you regret this. Huamin, I know. Suyu, oh no. I feel like I'm going to lose sleep. I'm so excited. Huamin, look at your useless face. Suyu, I've always been so useless in front of you. Min sent a smiley face. Suyu, honey, sing me a song to ease my nerves. Min, me. Singing. Don't mess around. I'll scare you. Suyu, it's okay. I'm mentally prepared. Upon hearing Suyu's words, Min didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Suyu, sing me a song called Little Sunday. I like it. Min was slightly surprised. Min, how did you know that I know how to sing this song? Suyu, isn't it a children's song that's very popular recently? Any woman can sing it, right? Min, no, I'll run away if I sing. Suyu, I like it too. For some reason, Min's heart softened. Unable to resist Suyu's coaxing, he sang a few lines of Little Sun for Suyu. Then, there was no response from the other end. He must have fallen asleep because he was too tired. Min could feel Suyu's nervousness and excitement. However, to her, she was much calmer. Tomorrow was the 8th day of the Chinese New Year. In the blink of an eye, it would be their wedding day. She was also very conflicted. She didn't know if it was right for her to get married so easily. Unknowingly, Min only fell asleep at 3 or 4 o'clock. He also couldn't sleep the entire night. That night, Min had a dream. She dreamed that she was trapped in a dreamlike place. Then, the dream shattered. She watched as Suyu slowly walked away from her. Then, she shouted with all her might, Suyu, no, no. Suyu. Chapter 46-49. Until Min stood opposite Suyu. She was still in a daze and felt like she was dreaming. The wedding was simple and low-key according to her request. However, no matter how simple it was still the Su family style. Suyu, the only son of the 5th generation of the Su family, was getting married today. The wedding was held at a private manor owned by the Su family. There were less than 300 guests present, and they had all been carefully selected. It was said that the Su family's wedding invitations were all made of pure 24K gold. It was obvious how much importance they placed on this wedding. Min's wedding dress was very simple, but it was precisely because of its simplicity that it gave off the most natural beauty. She didn't know how long this handmade wedding dress had been sewn, or how many pearls and diamonds were embroidered. But now, she was in no mood to care about those things, because she didn't know when she was standing opposite Suyu. On the entire stage, only the lights were on where she and Suyu were standing. It was dark below. Miss Min, do you take Mr. Suyu as your wife, regardless of poverty, illness, sickness, old age, or death? Will you never leave him? Min felt that her voice was so ethereal and empty. Suyu looked at her nervously, as if he was waiting for a death sentence. I do. As soon as Min said, I do, the audience burst into thunderous applause. Suyu finally heaved a sigh of relief. Mr. Suyu, before the MC could finish asking, Suyu shouted, I'll do it. Off the stage, everyone burst into laughter. How anxious was he? Min lowered her head shyly. Then, she heard Suyu say word by word, Suyu, am willing to take Min as my wife, regardless of poverty, illness, old age, or death. I will never leave her. I will only love her in this life and treat her well, until death do us part. As the groom, Suyu recited the oath himself. The atmosphere was different. Lady Su could hear the emotion in her son's voice. Old Master Su sat in the main seat and watched as the grandson he had doted on since he was young finally grew up and entered the palace of marriage. His heart was filled with emotions. In the end, a famous pianist played a romantic piano piece on the spot. Suyu lowered his head and gently kissed Huamin. Huamin saw that when Suyu closed her eyes, a tear fell and landed on her face. Mian, thank you for giving me a chance. She heard him whispering in her ear. Later on, Huamin would dream of the wedding for many days. Suyu was the most excited person present. Everyone could see that he was as nervous as a young boy that day. After the wedding, Huamin moved into Suyu's private mansion. However, he returned to work at South Side. This time, he was an obstetrician and gynecologist, no longer a nurse. It was not wrong to say that he relied on the Su family's connections, but Huamin did take the exam again and obtained his doctor's certificate. On the morning of the weekend, Huamin woke up from his sleep and saw a cup of hot milk on the bedside table. There was a note on it. Good morning, Mrs. Su. Drink the milk first. Huamin sat up with a smile, picked up the milk, and drank it slowly. He could even feel the warmth of the milk seeping into his heart and spleen. When he went downstairs, Suyu had already made breakfast and had just returned from a jog outside. Good morning, madam. And looked up and saw Huamin in his home clothes. Good morning. Huamin smiled. Dr. Hua, come down and eat. Then, Suyu smiled and walked to the kitchen to wash his hands. Huamian slowly walked downstairs until she was behind him. Then, she hugged him tightly from behind. Suyu, why are you so nice? She said gently. Chapter 4650. That's because I've been outstanding since I was young. Suyu said proudly. Huamin smiled gently behind him. She might not be used to being Suyu's wife yet, but she could feel Suyu's affection for her at all times. After they got married, Suyu would send her to work every day, rain or shine. In the past, he would often go on business trips, but now, he would send the higher-ups of the company. Suyu had never left home for a night. Boss, lady boss, are you done showing off your love? Can we have breakfast now? Shaoan felt rather helpless. Logically speaking, he should have left after his boss got married so that he wouldn't be a third wheel in this family. Unexpectedly, Suyu still refused to let him leave. He even said that such a big house wasn't enough for him to live in. Therefore, An, who was single, had to endure the two masters showing off their love every day. Madam, on the other hand, was still fine. She was very restrained and calm. His boss was simply crazy. The legendary wife-doting maniac was probably him. After breakfast, Suyu drove Huamin to work. Actually, Huamin had a driver's license and could drive himself. However, Suyu was worried, so he refused to let Huamin drive alone. You have a morning meeting today, right? Yes. Then you don't have to send me. Go straight to the company. I'll take a taxi to the hospital. It's fine, there's no rush. Unable to dissuade Suyu, she was sent to the entrance of the hospital. Ever since Suyu got married, his Lamborghini had basically retired. He really didn't dare to imagine that the car that he used to love the most was almost not being driven anymore. Sports cars were too eye-catching and disturbing, and they weren't very comfortable to sit in. Therefore, in order to send his wife to work, Suyu only drove a black Audi A8. With Suyu's identity, driving this car couldn't be any more low-key. However, it suited Huamin's taste. Suyu didn't know why, but even in the parallel world, Huamin still loved Audi so much. It was an inexplicable feeling. It was just a simple sentence, as long as his wife was happy. After Huamin became a doctor, his workload obviously increased. Today, he was representing Southside Hospital for a meeting at the first hospital. He took a colleague's car. Min didn't expect to meet Ning Ziyuan here. He was still an ophthalmologist, but it was said that he didn't have a good reputation. Very few people had his name, he was just hanging out. She had heard from her colleagues that man had induced a miscarriage when she was only a few months old and divorced him. They sold the house, they didn't know how they split the money. It was said that Ning Ziyuan was living with a female university student. Min didn't want to interfere with his matters. Everyone had to pay the price for their mistakes. Although Min didn't like Ning Ziyuan, he had never done anything to let him down. If it weren't for Su Yu's help, his mother's 60,000 yuan would have gone down the drain. Therefore, when they met, the two of them seemed to be strangers. In the corridor of the first hospital, Min walked downstairs with a smile after a meeting with the OB/GYN doctors. Just like that, Ning Ziyuan walked towards them. Everyone knew about their past, so they subconsciously avoided him. Min didn't plan to greet him. Ning Ziyuan, on the other hand, Mian, please call me Dr. Hua, thank you. Min's tone was unprecedentedly distant. Mian, can we talk? Chapter 46-51. Ning Ziyuan looked very dispirited. His eyes seemed to have a lot to say. I don't think there's any need for us to talk. My dad has liver cancer. Ning Ziyuan's words stunned Min slightly. Ning Ziyuan's parents were both farmers in the mountain village. She had met them before. They were honest and kind people. After they separated, the old couple felt sorry for Min. They even brought Min a lot of specialties from the mountains. She hadn't seen them in a long time. Seeing that Min didn't say anything, Ning Ziyuan continued, it's true. I'm not lying to you. It was confirmed at our hospital. You can check the information. So, what do you want to say? Min glanced at his face coldly. Let's talk somewhere else. Ning Ziyuan's eyes were almost pleading. Min thought about his elderly father having cancer. His emotions were very complicated. Inside a cafe near the first hospital, Min and Ning Ziyuan sat across from each other. If you have something to say it quickly. I don't have much time. Min looked down at his watch. Are you still with Su Yu? Ning Ziyuan's expression was very complicated when he asked this question. It was as if he was saying that Mian had found a rich man, but he was envious, jealous, and looked down on him. Min glanced at him and replied coldly, yes. I hope that Su Yu treats you sincerely. You know that playboys like him only like to play with feelings. Don't be too stupid and get too involved. I'm saying this for your own good, Ning Ziyuan said to Min shamelessly as a friend. Thank you for your advice, but Su Yu and I are already married. Min was not someone who liked to show off. Only a few people knew about her marriage with Su Yu. The Su family's power directly suppressed all the major media, and no one reported it. Only the guests who attended the wedding at that time spread the news that Su Yu was already married. However, because it wasn't confirmed, many people didn't know that it was true. What did you say? Ning Ziyuan was dumbfounded. This was the expression that Min wanted to see. For a moment, she felt the thrill of revenge. After all, dating Su Yu, cohabiting with Su Yu. None of those words could compare to this sentence, I'm married to Su Yu. You and Su Yu are married. Yes, we're legally married, Min added. Ning Ziyuan's expression couldn't be described as shock. After a long time, he finally calmed down and said with a mocking smile, congratulations, you're finally married into a rich family. So, I'm here today to hear you congratulate me. If you have something to say, you'd better say it quickly. You have 5 minutes. Huamin looked down at her watch again and reminded Huamin. Mian, I want to borrow money. Borrow money? You're asking me. Huamin smiled. Yes, my dad's liver cancer is in the intermediate stage, there's still hope. I want to have surgery, but I don't have that much money. You're a doctor, you know the cost of cancer treatment. It turned out that Ning Ziyuan coaxed Huamin into coming to the cafe just to borrow money. He felt that if Huamin and Su Yu were together, they wouldn't lack money. Of course, after hearing that Su Yu and Huamin were married, he wanted to borrow money even more. After all, the Su family had endless money. Chapter 46-52. But we're not even friends. Why should I lend it to you? Mian, how can you be so heartless? Ning Ziyuan didn't expect Huamin to say this and be so decisive. You've always treated me the same way. Back then, you used my mother's money to buy a house and then married he man. When have you ever shown me any mercy? Huamin's words made Ning Ziyuan speechless. Mian, I'm begging you. I need 300,000 yuan now. I'll write an IOU. I can pay you back in installments with my salary at the hospital. My dad treats you well, you know that. Even if you don't care about me, my parents, time's up. Thank you for the coffee. Huamin stood up and left. Ning Ziyuan was left with a face full of regret, at Imperial Star Entertainment. After the meeting, Su Yu was hungry, so he brought a few executives to the company's cafeteria. The moment Su Yu entered, he immediately caused a commotion. Zhao Qingya, Jian Tong, and the other popular artists knew about Su Yu's marriage. After all, they were there to watch the ceremony that day. Zhao Qingya, Jian Tong, and Nia Lingxian were all there. The three women had different feelings. Some were envious, while others sincerely wished him well. Jian Tong and Nia Lingxian were smarter. After knowing that their boss already had someone in his heart, they began to work on their own careers. Zhao Qingya, on the other hand, still had a glimmer of hope for Su Yu. Therefore, as soon as Su Yu sat down in the cafeteria, Zhao Qingya sat down. President Su. Speak. Su Yu couldn't be bothered to say another word to this woman. When I came back from the TV station recording, I saw Madam. Hearing the word Madam, Su Yu looked up. Then, Zhao Qingya took out her phone and found the photo. Look, isn't this Madam? The photo Zhao Qingya took was very clear. It was Huamin's side profile, and the man sitting opposite him was also very clear. The two of them were at a coffee shop. Su Yu glanced at it, but there was no reaction on his face. Unwilling to give up, Zhao Qingya continued, this man is quite handsome. He seems to be quite close to Madam. But Madam. She's a married woman after all. How could she ignore you and meet men casually outside? Even if they're friends, she should avoid them. If word gets out, it'll be bad for her reputation. Zhao Qingya, Su Yu said. Have you been very free recently? I think you've been too idle lately. Our company has a celebrity charity event about the Qinghai Tibet Plateau that lasts for a month. I see that you're quite popular, so it's good for you to do more charity work. Pack your things and leave tomorrow. Oh, no, tonight, President Su. I still have a few TV shows. Zhao Qingya was scared out of her wits. It's okay. I'll arrange for someone else to replace you. Do more charity work, and build up your image. Then, Su Yu smiled and stood up. Zhao Qingya was dumbfounded. Qinghai Tibet Plateau. 1 month. Charity work. Oh my god, this is crazy. Wasn't President Su going to be angry with his wife? Why would he vent his anger on her? Zhao Qingya didn't understand. She didn't believe that President Su wasn't jealous. She didn't believe that President Su didn't care that his wife met another man. Inside the president's office of Imperial Star, Su Yu was indeed jealous, but Su Yu's jealousy was different from other men's. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.